It feels so good to be back doing the regular old podcast. Look at this. What's going on? Alright, we can start now. And everything else. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Nightmares Podcast. And we are finally back after the amazing amount of reviews that we've had to do, and also interviews that we've had to do, and productions that we've had to do, and whatever other shit that we've had to do.
Conventions, screenings, people being out of town.
A vacation.
Somebody trying to become a wrestler.
The
movie challenges.
Movie challenges that were failed and succeeded
Failed.
on varying degrees of success. Definitely failed that.
Don't shame him, because then you'd have to shame me too. So.
Well, he's the one that came up with the idea.
Yeah, so
I
he's gonna
did
get
come up with
paid.
the idea, and I
it's
failed.
double shame for him.
Yeah.
It's like
True.
shame, whereas David is just
Regular.
not. This is kind of like
I
Regular
didn't do
shame.
my homework.
sham.
Regular
It's not-
sham.
it's not even-
Cheyenne.
It's not even a full shame. It's just the first four
It's a
letters.
Shaquille movie.
No, that's his Amish cousin.
That's a different kind of shame.
It's a Shamil.
What?
Shamil.
Shemail?
Dude.
I want to meet Shemail.
Hail Shamil. The
Hello, Shemail. Hello, Shemail. Hello, Shemail.
Oh my god. That's fucking stupid.
I'm sure the Amish demographic of our audience is going to be thrilled.
Do we even have an Amish demographic?
No,
Wait,
it was a. It was
That is
fucking-
the stupidest thing you've ever said. And you said a lot of stupid shit since the years that I've known you. And that is the stupidest thing that you've ever said.
Everybody's now dumber.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
you will die a horrible death, Mark.
Okay, so let's get back on topic.
Because
So
we never
today-
get on the topic.
So today we're going to talk about a lot of the horror movies and comics that we've read over the last month, sort of like a horror catch-up. Then we're going to talk about our favorite non-slasher horror movie kills. And then we have Mark's question of the podcast,
We do.
which you totally know what it's going to be right now.
I actually do.
Okay.
The actually came up with
And
it.
then we're going to, for our production half of this episode, we're going to talk about Living Nightmares episode 3 and how that went.
Yeah, absolutely.
We shot it more than a month ago, and we're finally talking about it.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So hopefully we can remember what happened those nights.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
You will never forget.
Never forget.
And
Never
then
surrender.
just two quick updates about what's going on with us. We do have a very, very exciting interview with Mr. Tony Wash of Scotchworthy Productions, if I can hook on phonics myself.
Unless it's already gone up, in which case
correct.
go check out that video.
Please do.
Currently
it's not
under
a-
review.
If it's not up yet, then keep an eye out for it.
Indeed, it's going to be an awesome interview. We're very excited. The local filmmaker out in this area that I've known for a very, very long time. These Zach and Brandon were both grateful to meet him at one of the conventions. It was an awesome interview. If it is up, please check it out. If it's not, keep on the lookout. And also, one of the big things is we do participate quite a bit on Instagram, or at least I do, making videos, saying hi, and everything else. Hey, please give us a follow. I love telling Brandon to tell us, hey, Brandon, where do they follow us on Instagram? What's our Instagram?
Midwest Horror Network.
Yay! Follow us. It's awesome. So, all right, Brandon, go ahead and kick it off, and any direction you would like to talk about October.
There are 3 things. Well, there's a movie, a show, and then I want to talk about some comics that I read today.
Nice.
The first movie we saw in celebration of my birthday the other week, and that was Dr. Sleep. David, what did you think of Dr. Sleep?
Didn't watch it.
Zach, what did you think of Dr. Sleep?
One of the best goddamn movies I've seen in a long time.
Really?
It was a phenomenal movie. If you haven't seen it, you're really doing yourself a disservice. If you haven't seen The Shining, you're doing yourself an even bigger disservice. Watch The Shining. Go watch Dr. Sleep. You will thank me later.
I don't know why he needed to...
Mark, what did you think of Dr. Sleep?
A couple things. One, the one big thing, the disclaimer I have with this movie, because I want people to know it. If you are big fans of The Shining, do not compare it to The Shining, because it is its own movie. It does stand on its own. You don't need to compare it to it. Yes, does it have a lot of nods towards it? Yes. Is there a little bit of a fan service? Even though Brandon and I disagree on what fan service is, I think there's good fan service and there's bad fan service. This is absolutely the best kind of fan service. But don't compare it. I've seen this in a lot of reviews. Don't compare it to The Shining because they are two different films. That disclaimer aside, I was in agreement with you. I thought Us was going to be the best horror movie of the year. And now I have a decision to make because I think this was one of the best horror movies of the year. And not to mention one of the best films I've seen all year. This was a truly fantastic movie. The visual effects were great when it needed to be great. The performances were fantastic. Ewan McGregor knocked it out of the park. If I needed any concerns about Ewan McGregor being in the Obi-Wan television show, at very least, I'll know that he'll be awesome in it. I can't speak for the rest of the show, but I damn sure know that he's going to be great.
Mark, we've talked about this. It's not going to be him that fucks up the show.
Oh no, absolutely. But the child performance was great. It had compelling villains in it. The story got you hooked, and the wonderful part about this movie is it's an old-fashioned movie. And when I mean old-fashioned movie is things don't need to be happening immediately out of the gate for it. It takes its time. It builds the characters. And the funny thing is when I was watching this movie, I almost had to readjust my brain because I'm so used to films today that have to do something every fucking 2 seconds. This didn't need to do something every 2 seconds. It took its time to build up its characters, to have the quiet moments, to have the character building moments. So when eventually in the end of the second act and into the third act, when the shit hit the fan, you actually deeply cared about these characters. The characters snuck up on you in the best possible way. It really was a fantastic film. Go and see it in the theaters. It's worth every bit of the money that you spend. It's one of the best films of the year. It really is.
I really loved it as well. That and Us are basically the two best movies I've seen all year so far. Still got about a month and a half left in the year, but yeah, it really was a horror movie epic. Like it takes place, like the story from beginning to end is a couple decades. It takes place over multiple locations. So it really did remind me a lot of the old epics from like the 50s and 60s in that way. And just like the big scope of the story, maybe even a little bigger in some ways than those old movies. I loved all the characters. I do disagree with you about saying that you kind of said nothing needs to happen every 2 seconds. I think stuff was happening every 2 seconds. It was just that stuff was set up.
Correct.
It goes like I think Shane Black once said in an interview back in the day, scripts were set up, payoff, set up, payoff, set up, payoff. But now movies just want to be payoff, 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 payoff. Whereas this movie did have set up, payoff, set up, payoff. The villain was great. Every performance was great. Lurch from the Addams Family was in it, which that was nice to see because David got a picture with him in New Jersey, so it was cool to see him in a movie.
That was a fun surprise.
Yeah.
It was
a fun surprise. No Stephen King cameo.
Oh.
Did you expect that to be a normal occurrence?
I mean, he was in It Chapter 2, so
You never know.
you never know. You never know. Yeah, I thought it was a worthy continuation of the Kubrick movie. There are aspects of that kind of combine the Kubrick movie with what King wanted to do with the original novel of The Shining. Yeah, I thought it was done really well. I was so wrapped up in the story, I felt like I was watching Lord of the Rings for the first time again.
Nice.
Yeah, it was that big of a movie for me. Yeah, I loved it.
You go see it. It's worth your time.
I'm waiting for it. My wife wants to see it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth your time. So yeah, that was the cap off to our adventure and your vacation from October. The vacation.
My failed vacation.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a crazy thing. But yeah, we had a heck of an experience. We not only in addition to watching that 25 horror movie piece challenge that David and I both failed. You failed it too. And by the way,
You're double shamed.
and all the way, Zach didn't actually keep to his list. He just the more horror movies they were watching, you just changed movies out.
Here's the thing,
You just
I
changed
ended up-
movies
You
out.
cheated.
No, I didn't cheat. I watched 25 horror movies. It was just a whole bunch of new movies I hadn't seen before, and I'm just like, fuck it, this was good. I'm adding this to my list. Shoot!
Exactly.
I'm keeping my promise.
With me, I didn't make a list. I just went with 25 that I hadn't seen before. Which I guess I'll finish up my list.
Yeah, sure.
You can see the first part of my list on our Dark History and 1 year anniversary episode, which is the episode that went up before this.
In a hotel room somewhere.
Yeah, it's the one that we
Undisclosed.
filmed in a hotel room in Champaign, Illinois. But yeah, to finish up my list, I watched We Are Still Here, which is kind of like a throwback haunted house movie in a way with Barbara Crampton. It was alright. I really like it on a technical level. Story basically was everything I thought was going to happen, happened. But it was done well. Q, The Winged Serpent, which is a Larry Cohen movie who unfortunately passed away earlier this year. Basically, this dragon is on the loose in New York City. Pretty good. The aerial shots were spectacular. And then I followed that with another Larry Cohen movie, God Told Me To, which is about basically people are going on murder sprees, and there's no connection between any of them except before they get killed off or arrested or anything like that, they tell the arresting detective, God told me to. And so the detective starts looking into what's actually going on. Then I watched a movie called Southbound, which is sort of an anthology. Yeah, it's like an anthology movie. There are 5 stories. The first and the last stories were actually directed by the directors of Ready or Not, which is what made me want to watch this movie.
Nice. Nice.
And basically, the movie takes place on this one stretch of desert highway, and the stories kind of intersect. It's done really well, and it's like the beginning of one story is the end of the previous one. So it's not like one story ends and then it just cuts to the next one, or one story end, fade to black, fade to the next one. They do bleed into each other. Like one ends, the other begins, or the ending of one is literally the beginning of the other. Like they overlap like that.
Nice.
So it's done really interesting. The middle story, I thought was one of the scariest stories I've ever watched in the last 10 years. And it's about this guy who basically he's going along that stretch of highway in the middle of nowhere. He hits this girl with his car, and he gets 911 on the line. But of course, it's he's in the middle of the desert. What can he do? So it really plays into that fear of what can you do in this situation. So I just thought it was done really well. Yeah, I highly recommend Southbound. Then I watched The Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh God.
Do you know what this is?
No, I don't. But I'm very curious about the title.
It's probably exactly what you're imagining. I believe this was a Roger Corman produced movie in the early 80s, or at least his company bought it, I believe. I know Roger Corman has something to do with it. What's interesting is the original screenwriter wrote it as a spoof of slasher movies, but the director didn't get that, so it was directed as a straight up slasher movie. So you have some lines that are a little weird or a bit funnier than you think they would be.
The irony was lost on
The irony was lost on the director.
He's just reading it.
But yeah,
Okay.
This is brilliant. We must produce it. This will be the next Friday the 13th. The next Nightmare on Elm Street.
I believe this is pre-Nightmare on Elm Street. I think.
This will be the next Halloween.
I'm curious. 1982, so it's after Friday the 13th, but before Nightmare on Elm Street.
When was Nightmare? 93?
84.
84, Jesus Christ.
93.
Yeah, I'm.
It's a pretty straightforward slasher movie. The killer is the driller killer. He has a drill,
And he
com-
kills.
and he's coming after high school girls.
So he drills them.
I'm sure Freud would love this movie.
Yeah, he drills some
Yeah.
high school chicks. I dig it.
But it
I
really
see where the translation was.
It
lost.
really isn't that good of a movie, but there's a line that happens early on that just made me go, I want to remake this movie with the same script, but any female part I want to turn male, and any male part I want to turn female. I want to do a complete gender swap of every single character in this movie for a remake.
Oh God. And I'm friends with these people, and Kim included. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Jury's still out on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun movie, though not very good. Then there was Stage Fright, 1980s slasher movie. Basically, there's a theater group rehearsing a play. There's a killer in an owl mask killing them. Then I watched Night of Something Strange.
That's about how important that movie was. Yeah, that was. Yep.
The music was good. It's
about a theater club. I hope it's good.
Then there was Night of Something Strange, which our friend Justin kept recommending to me. And this one took a while to really get going for me, but once it got going, it was really entertaining, and then it just kept going. So it's like the first part and the last part I don't really care for, but the middle I thought was good. Which is weird because usually it's the opposite, where it's like you have a really strong beginning and a really strong end, but the middle just keeps meandering. This was the exact opposite.
That's weird.
It's about a killer STD.
Isn't that it? It follows.
No, It Follows is like this presence follows you.
It's caused by.
This is a literal virus that turns people into zombie creatures. It's kind of like Slither. It's like a low budget Slither.
Okay.
Okay.
It was gross. It was a really gross movie, but it had a very entertaining middle. I liked the front desk clerk at the motel. Like he would say things that just sound like either he would say it like he has such a southern accent or this like mumble accent that you think he's saying something bad, but like there's a part in the beginning where he's like, "Do you want to lick my balls? What? Do you want a wake up call?"
It's like American Psycho.
Yeah.
Like I'm into murders and executions. I mean murders and acquisitions.
And then there's a part where one of the characters is walking out of his room and he's passing the clerk, and the guy has a condom stuck to his back, and the clerk just says, "Dick bag, what'd you call me?"
All right. Anyway, moving on.
And then the 25th movie on my list is Nightmare Cinema, which is another anthology movie with segments by David Slade of 30 Days of Night fame.
Cool.
Mick Garris, who directed The Stand and a lot of other Stephen King stuff. And Joe Dante, who directed Gremlins, Matinee, Gremlins 2, The Howling, Piranha, Splatter. We should talk about Splatter a little bit, because we did watch that.
Do we have to?
Yes, it's been mentioned. It has to happen there.
But you know what? I'm getting some of that and then we're gonna talk about the haunted houses we went to.
Yeah, but yeah, which Splatter was 10 years before Nightmare Cinema, and Joe Dante's segment in Nightmare Cinema was actually the best one. So Nightmare Cinema is basically just 5 stories. They really have no relation to each other. It's like somebody enters a movie theater. The projectionist, played by Mickey Rourke, shows them a film which is of like their greatest fear or their death or something like that.
And Mickey Rourke with a random part in that. That's cool.
Yep, he's basically the crypt keeper of it,
Ah.
but he's barely in it. But yeah, Joe Dante's segment is about this woman
Like the Crypt Keeper. Like,
But yeah, Joe Dante's segment is about this woman that's going through some plastic surgery to remove a scar on her face, but her fiance asks for some other procedures to be done as well, and it just has this really weird sense of tension. And it's just it really does get under your skin, pun not intended. But But yeah, it was
Worth it.
it was a really it was a really creepy segment. The first segment starts off as like any other slasher, but then there's like a neat little twist halfway through where you find out the slasher is actually the hero of the story.
Oh.
That's a
Yeah.
kind of interesting twist.
That's a really interesting twist.
Thanks for spoiling it, Brandon.
Yeah.
There's a little more to it.
Thanks for spoiling it,
The
Brandon.
third story is basically directed by a guy who just got the idea of the image of a Catholic priest killing demon-possessed children.
Cool.
Sure. Fourth segment was black and white and weird.
Is that what the title was?
No, it's like there's this woman waiting for a doctor's appointment at the doctor's office, and then stuff just gets weird.
I want to make that movie. Black and white and weird.
It's a good title.
Yeah, it's a good title. It's
And
got
I
some-
don't really remember the fifth segment.
Cool.
Overall, it was a very enjoyable anthology. Now, as for keeping of Mark's promise of my top 5 from the 25 that I've watched, and I'm just going to do the quick ranking. I'm just going to do the quick listing here. At number 5, The Town That Dreaded Sundown remake. I talked about that in the last video. All my top 5 I talked about in our previous video at the hotel. But at number 5, The Town That Dreaded Sundown sequel, I should say. It wasn't a remake, it was a sequel. Number 4, Behind the Mask, the Rise of Leslie Vernon. Neat little mockumentary, very enjoyable. Number 3, Willard with Crispin Glover. He controls rats. That was very good character-driven horror movie. Number 2, from the Music Box of Horrors, Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell. I really want an official release of this in America. It was such a great movie. You weren't there when I talked about it, but it was a Japanese movie shot on Super 8 film in 1995. Didn't start editing until like 2009. Wasn't completed until 2012, and wasn't released until 2015.
Somebody found that fucking film in a closet somewhere and then just said, I'm just going to start editing this.
It was amazing.
Maybe we can make a few bucks off this. Fuck it, let's put it together, see what happens.
It was amazing. And then my favorite movie from the 25 that I watched is Summer of '84.
I figured
Oh,
that
yeah.
was going to be that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I gushed about that in our previous video.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Next up, I watched Shudder's first season of the Creepshow TV series.
well, hold on real quick, though. I want to skip on this, though, because I know Zach also did this
Oh, yeah.
as well.
You want to talk about your
And
25?
everything else. I would love to hear your top 5. You know, I know you're not going to go into all that crazy detail.
So let's see. My top 5. Alright, none of you guys have seen this. It's a movie called Zeram.
Yeah, you talked about that. I didn't know what that was even. Yeah.
Yeah, so I talked about it in, I think it was our Monster Movie podcast, and I hadn't seen it in fucking forever, and I wanted to track it down, so I figured I'd rewatch it for the...
What is your cat?
The cats are losing their minds over there.
Yeah, that's a
Cat
little
did
one.
something. Did someone fall?
No, he just ran so fast that the rug slid under his feet, and he boosted forward and then crashed into the corner of the door.
Cats. Assholes.
Saram. Okay.
Yeah, so essentially this alien prisoner escapes from intergalactic jail, goes on Earth, and they trap it in this separate dimension thing that's pretty much an exact replica of what the area looks like. And it's just this space bounty hunter trying to fight it and catch it, but these two dorks somehow end up getting involved. They get transported with the monster, so now they're stuck in the middle of all this thing. And it's just one big hectic monster fight, which is pretty awesome. The only thing I didn't like about it was the dub. It was terrible.
It sounds like Bill and Ted meet Mothra.
Mothra? What?
Mothra or whatever they.
I would pay to see that. That should be Bill and Ted 3.
Yeah, the Godzilla villain, Mothra.
Why Mothra?
I don't know. Just, you know.
Mothra's not even a bad monster, so I'm just,
I don't know.
of all the monsters you could choose, Mothra.
Godzilla. Maybe Godzilla. I don't know.
All right.
They're all the same to Mark.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so Zeram, that's number 5. Number 4, 13 Ghosts.
The original or the remake?
The remake.
Okay.
Yeah, the 2001 remake. Love that movie. Matthew Willard, fucking hilarious.
Matthew Lillard.
It's a good one. I love
Yeah.
that film.
But coked out millionaire.
Number 3,
No.
it was just a big surprise that I just didn't turn it off, which is why I'm putting it here. Unfriended.
By my recommendation, sir. Really?
I decided on a whim one night, you know what? Fuck it. I can watch it. Let me
I
do it.
gotta hear about this because I want to hear what you thought about it. You didn't say
wasn't
anything.
bad. It wasn't good. It was just I was intrigued enough to keep watching to see where the fuck it went, and I'm just like, all of you people deserve to die.
Actually, that's exactly how I felt when I left the movie. I was like, I'm kind of glad all of you died because you all are terrible
Like-
fucking people. Terrible people.
Seriously,
I didn't wanna
how are
spoil-
you people this? Wow.
I didn't want to spoil it to you, Zach, but I'm so glad that you had that
My
same
good
experience.
God.
You find out in the movie, like you kind of feel a little bad at the beginning, but by the end, you're like, I'm fucking glad all of you are dead. You're all are terrible fucking people, all of you. Although one of the deaths from that is going to make our list for me actually.
Really? Okay, I can't wait to hear which one.
It's probably the one you're thinking of.
I don't know.
Fat kid. Yeah, you
So
already.
fucking stupid.
I know, but I love it. It's great. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
All right, number 2 was Insidious Last Key. The series is I watched 2 Insidious movies from Last Key was, I thought it was a phenomenal horror movie. It was a great high tension filled horror movie that didn't rely on jump scares. It relied on high tension moments, and it was a good story as well. I was very surprised. I'm just like, wow, this is nothing like the second one.
Brandon reacted like a southern lady whose ancestors were just insulted. Like, I do declare.
It's the 4th one in the series.
Yeah.
And you still thought it was good.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. If I have to say, if you're going to watch the series, 1, 2, 3, if you really want to, but it's very pointless. And part 4.
Which number 1?
Friday the 13th Vengeance.
Nice.
Not surprising.
I had
Fun.
so much fun watching that
Not
movie.
surprising.
Dude.
It was such a brutal, badass Friday the 13th movie,
It really
and I
was.
fucking
It was.
love it.
How many kills again in that film?
Somewhere
37,
between
42.
so-
Somewhere between those two.
Yeah,
numbers.
somewhere between 30s and 40s.
was-
They
yeah.
went nuts.
I'm actually because I fucking failed this challenge, but I'm gonna pick 3.
because that's all he watched.
I watched way more than that, but
Oh, did you?
I watched more than that, but not as much as I would have liked. I'm gonna pick biggest disappointment, biggest surprise, and probably my favorite. Biggest disappointment was You're Next. It was incredibly disappointing.
Oh, I want to see that.
It's
That's-
incredibly.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I watched it and I'm like, this is. You know what's so funny?
I was going to say, I have a question. Were you disappointed because of the ending? Because my buddy, when I used to work at the theater, he said he loved it until the ending.
The ending was incredibly fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And pointless. There's no point. Nothing led anywhere.
Yeah.
The second big thing about this is it makes all these top 10 lists for most intelligent character in a horror movie. She's intelligent. She's only intelligent because everyone else is fucking stupid. And honestly, you know what it is? It's a fucking Die Hard ripoff. It's a horror version Die Hard ripoff. And the crazy part about it, and the more I think about it, the more it pisses me off.
I feel like you've been saying that about a lot of movies recently.
But
or maybe I'm just overthinking.
But the funny thing is, that movie did what the concept of this movie is doing 100 times fucking better. Like, don't get me wrong. And the ending is exactly let's take the supernatural element out of Ready or Not, and you'll get Your Next. Just do that. Just take the supernatural
Here's the
element.
thing. I feel like if you take the supernatural element out of it, like if that thing at the end never happened, it'd still be a good movie.
Oh, it's so great, but take the supernatural element out of the plot, and then you get Your Next.
So as in you just remove the whole game thing? And
You
people-
remove the whole
like-
game thing, remove the whole devil thing, and then you get what Your Next is. It's a bunch of rich people that start slowly dying. You know I don't want to spoil it for you guys. You know, if you really want to see it, but what they're doing in the movie. I watched the movie and I'm like, this, like Ready or Not did it 10 times better. It was a better quality movie. And don't get me wrong, there's a few badass scenes that I enjoyed with her, that a few cool things that she did, but all the plot points I saw from a mile away, nothing else. Not to mention, and I guess I probably saw it a mile away because when this came out, it was more original, I suppose. But a lot of these other movies that have come out since then, I know those tropes. Those are those are newer tropes. But ultimately, at the end of the day, these people made stupid decisions that made her look like a genius. I saw the plot coming from a mile away. Generally, it was just disappointing as a movie. And I already saw a movie that did the concept, a similar concept, 10 times better, and it was Ready or Not. If I had to take those movies heads up, Ready or Not is miles ahead of Your Next. And it was one of those things that it was very disappointing because it makes all these lists and I've been told good things and I'm like, fuck, I want to check this movie out. And I ended up watching it and I'm like, it's really fucking disappointing. It was disappointing because it was bland. Like there wasn't a lot going on. I mean, yeah, it was a cool, a couple cool kills. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, well, that was stupid. Well, why didn't you do that? Well, this is stupid. Let me guess. It's I'm sorry, guys. Spoiler alert, I have to do this. Oh, well, let me guess. It's the twisted brother who's killing his whole family to get inherit all their money. Oh, wait a minute. It's her boyfriend that's been disappeared for like 20 minutes, and maybe he's dead. He's not dead. He's a part of the fucking scheme and everything else. I said this from a mile away. And just more and more things. And then, by the way, they kill the whole family with knives and crossbows. And they're assassins. They're former military assassins that show up with fucking crossbows, opposed to silencers with actual guns and weapons. If these guys were real military guys, they would have showed up with actual guns to murder these people if they were actually assassins. It was fucking amateur hour for all these guys. And the more I got more upset. Like Ready or Not, perfect example. Those people weren't killers. Like they
were just rich people.
They were just rich. They weren't expected to do that. The guys in this movie they're killers. Like they're people in the military who, these were the guys who were in charge of, aggressive interrogation. Like they were those guys. So, and you got me to believe that they're killing these people with a bunch of booby traps and fucking crossbows. Fuck you, seriously. I felt the same way, the same emotion that I felt about Pain and Gain. It's the same emotion I felt about this. It was just disappointing. It was a cool premise and a couple cool characters and a couple cool movements wrapped in a really overall disappointing movie. And it kind of sucked.
So I take it you're not going to be looking forward to the crossover movie Ready or Not, You're Next.
I'm half looking forward to it because I loved half of that, but I'm not loving the other half. But I am looking forward to your remake though, the one with the Francos, which is what's the title of that one that you wanted to do?
Babysitter slasher.
No, it's the the combination of the Disaster Artist and This Is the End. I'll let you think.
No, that was my combination of The Interview. And
The Interview. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, my idea for that was for a sequel for The Interview where the real Seth Rogen and James Franco are hired to kill the real Kim Jong-un in North Korea. They succeed, and in retaliation, North Korea nukes Hollywood, and the only survivors are our most popular comedic actors from today, and they have to survive in this post-apocalyptic Hollywood wasteland. And the title would be The Interview 2, This Is the End Again.
Yep. I would help make that. But yeah, overall, it was a relatively disappointing movie.
Here's the fucked up part about that. I feel like if they ever, for some reason, watch this podcast and see it, their eyes are gonna widen. They're gonna be like, "That's fucking genius!"
It would work. That's the thing. I think it would legitimately work.
And Brendan doesn't do drugs or drink at all. He
That we know of.
Sober. Done. It came
That was my own dark and twisted soul.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
What if he really does? He's just really good at hiding it.
It's too much sugar.
Yeah,
Actually, that
too
makes
much
more
sugar.
sense.
That's
Sugar
his,
high.
That's his vice.
You have no physical evidence to support that.
Because
claim.
I
Well,
can
there's
find
the
a shit ton of
Starburst
fucking
wrapper right
rappers
over there.
around here. You're
Eat it
worse than
with
the
a
kids
little
from Heavyweights. Oh my god. I'm gonna find a fucking
Nice.
tree stump in the backyard with fucking shit inside of it while you're hiding away from Ben Stiller. You're gonna be diabetic in 5 years, Brandon. What the fuck?
5 years, more like 5 months.
Yeah,
All right, biggest surprise.
Or
for
now.
me. Got a
Tucker.
lot of stuff to go through.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil was one of the biggest surprises. I had so much fucking fun with that movie. It was an absolute blast. I talked about it on the post that I made on Instagram. The horror was great. The comedy was great. It had a great story, a great premise about it. It was very clever. It actually had the surprising part about it is it actually had heart. It actually had good emotion and good characters. I gave a shit about these guys, and it was just incredible bad luck what happened to these guys. And some of my there was some great death scenes that were so much fucking fun, including a moment where a guy and one of the teenage kids tries to attack the guy and falls headfirst into a fucking wood chipper. It's fantastic. It was one of my I knew I was gonna like it. I didn't think I was gonna love it. And I absolutely loved it. I would watch it again. It was an absolute blast of a movie. And without fail, as much as I love Tucker and Dale versus Evil, The Shining, after seeing it after 10 years, is truly fantastic and definitely gets my pick for my number one, favorite.
From the 25, not 25 that you watched.
Correct.
The 3 that he watched.
And I
Get it right.
And I probably would pick that one. I watched several other ones. Not several, maybe 2 or 3 after that were although I did have a lot of fun with Freddy vs. Jason. I laughed so fucking hard through that whole movie. It was not meant to be a comedy, but it certainly felt like it. But yeah, the Shining. What can I say about The Shining that hasn't already been said? It's fantastic. If you have not seen The Shining, go fucking watch The Shining. That's all I can say about The Shining. It's well worth your time to watch. It's a masterclass in building proper tension in a movie. I mean, and it has great. We hear us joke about Stanley Kubrick all the time. But at the end of the day, as much as the guy was a bastard in a lot of ways, he was fucking genius. So go and see The Shining, please. It's really, really
For
good.
the 5 of you who haven't.
Yes, correct. Of the 15 people that are watching,
Seek out the 4K disc.
yeah, that was a super awesome thing to do too. Is to see it on Brennan's 4K. It was really, really awesome. So,
David, any from your list that you want to share?
Sure. There's a few in there. One that's not on my top 5 is Scream 3. That Mark added on my list.
Don't feel bad. I watched it too.
I wanted you to watch it because I wanted to hear your reaction for it. It's bad, man.
Here's the thing. I went through the entire series just because I was just like, fuck it.
Even 4?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Meh.
Really?
I like 4.
I don't remember 4.
I like
So I would have to watch that.
I love the first one.
It had a really, I would say, probably the most interesting kill of the series.
Which
The cop gets stabbed in the face and he's just going.
is that 4?
Yeah.
Is that 4?
Fucking Bruce Willis.
Yeah. I'm just like.
I laughed so hard.
I'm just like. That's okay.
This is literally talking to the cop. Like, cops always die unless you're Bruce Willis. Then you live.
Yeah. No, like. Oh my god, the kills in these movies are so fucking basic.
Dude,
Do something other than a gun.
Guy with a knife. What do you expect?
Do more with it. Get creative.
dude, how can
Freddy
you...
uses glove with knives and he gets creative. Jason, you
Hold on. There's one kill in Scream 4. I'm surprised you didn't even mention. Was the girl.
The hanging one?
No, not in 4 that gets her intestines taken out in her fucking bedroom. That's an excellent. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he wants really. Like that kill's probably the best one out of all of the Screams. I highly recommend it. Anyway, I want to hear more about 3. I really do.
You sure?
Yes.
It was rough to get through it, especially because like in the beginning, it's like we start off with Cotton in the car, and he's got that phone call.
See, I enjoy that, but
I
everything else goes downhill from there.
Yeah, but it literally was like right after that, like when he's like stalking his like girlfriend or whatever, and we're listening to Creed while he's like stalking her.
There's a lot of Creed in Scream 3. A lot of Creed.
So I'm not a fan of the soundtrack for sure. I think that overall is probably what took me out of the film.
Oh man, I don't understand, dude. I guess because it was 2000 and it was the music.
Oh, I know.
But there's a lot of fucking Creed.
There's a lot of Creed in there, so
I don't know why. You know what though? But as much as I hate, I don't hate it, but as much as I dislike Scream 3, Carrie Fisher cameo is great. It's great.
It was great.
There were 2 moments I liked in that movie: the Carrie Fisher cameo. And the part where he reads the script, fuck.
Yeah, the those who can smell the gas. Oh my god. Dude, the one girl, man, like, oh my god, playing in the fucking Chiefs. What does it say?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Dude, oh my god. Kevin Williams must have had the same fucking reaction as the deep fake that George Lucas had watching the fucking trailer for the new Star Wars coming out. And like I'm so glad I wasn't involved in this bullshit. Dude, that's the problem though, because Kevin Williams had very little to do with that movie. He wrote a basic outline for it, and that's it, because he was fucking jammed up with other projects.
Oh look, you dropped something.
The plot. Because Kevin Williams was not involved in that movie, it suffered greatly. Yeah. It's a fucking shit show. Isn't Jay and Silent Bob in that movie for 2 seconds? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably like one of my favorite parts.
And Wes Craven's also in it too.
Back when they made cameos in everything for some reason.
Yeah.
Like the span of 5 years, they're just like, we're gonna invade this now.
Yeah. They're just. Honestly, man, everyone's winking to the camera except Patrick Dempsey, who's actually somewhat taking it seriously. But man, he can't. Not even he can save that shit. Yeah. Oh god.
I was tired of seeing the same. It's like basically the same story over and over. It's like trying to kill you, Sydney. Guess who I am? And then it's kind of like obvious.
Who is it this time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting it to be like, spoiler alert, brother or whatever, half brother, but I did expect it to be, the director is like, oh, it's kind of obvious there.
I did enjoy the video. It's a shoehorn plot point, but I did enjoy the video from Randy. When he was taping it from college and everything else. Like, if I did die, I regret losing my virginity to Karen Kolchak at the video store. And like, creepy Karen, shut up! She's really nice! But yeah, Scream 3. Yeah. It's something.
Yeah, my overall issue was just the soundtrack and the sound design there was just it took me off. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have enjoyed it.
Good for you.
I wouldn't have enjoyed it. And you talking
a little bit more.
You're talking to a huge Scream fan. I'm a very big one, and I see 3's a problem.
So yeah, that wasn't on my top 5, but I wanted to talk about that. So number 5, Lake Placid. One of my favorites.
Nice stuff. Very
sci-fi
nice.
is they actually use an animatronic, croc to do the kills and everything, which was awesome. It wasn't a digital CGI crocodile.
Like the next 27.
And by the way, how awesome was Betty White?
Awesome.
Oh.
Feeding the baby ears towards the end with bread. Freaking awesome. I thought they were going to do something like for like the next installment.
I'm sure
With her,
everybody
it
was
would've been
excited for the sequel to Lake Placid, and then now we're just looking at, like, how the fuck
Yeah.
did we get here?
Yeah.
Like, what? Seriously, what number are they on at this
I
point?
have no idea.
I don't know, but I know it's expensive to do like animatronic anything, but I enjoy. It was freaking
Oh,
awesome.
dude, fucking Betty White and everything else.
And Betty White is probably
Dude,
one of my
it's still one of
favorites.
the best line. What was that line and everything else? If I had a dick, this is
where I
this
tell
like
you to suck
suck it. He was just telling him about killing her fucking husband, and like, oh yeah, he was a bastard. He used to beat me, so I knocked him over the head with a frying pan and ate him, get him to the crocodile.
And she probably did.
Oh, that is that. Oh, Betty White,
Yeah.
you're great.
Then the number 4 would be Drag Me to Hell, and then also is gonna make one of our lists for like favorite kills.
Nice.
That's non-slasher. One of those still it stands. It's one of those films that actually can get me to do a jump scare. It was this, and then As Above, So Below were probably the only films so far that I've watched growing up that actually got me to scream. Because I was watching As Below, As
Okay,
Above, So
what-
Below, right? So I have my headphones and I'm
Oh,
watching.
that's
There's
why.
one moment in there, and I actually screamed. I was like, "That's weird." That came out of me. That doesn't happen. I'm a grown man. I don't scream
was
like
that?
that. Yeah, I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
You guys ever see that movie Accepted? When they sneak into college, fucking Jonah Hill, like a dead body falls from the top from the ceiling, and he screams really high, and like they're like, "What the hell was that?" And he's like, "Yeah, guys, it'd be really cool if you didn't tell people I screamed like that."
So yeah, it was like that was probably the first time I've actually made a noise watching a horror film like that.
Nice.
I don't scream watching horror films, so it was odd
Apparently
to
you
myself.
do.
Well, apparently I do.
That's,
I freaked
that's
myself.
interesting.
I was like, "What the hell was that?"
That is very interesting.
So yeah, that was number 4. Number 3 was The Faculty.
I still need to watch
I
that.
heard good things.
Elijah Wood's in it, so it was
John Stewart's
awesome.
in it.
Yeah, Jon Stewart was the science teacher. It was freaking awesome.
Okay.
Wasn't Selma Hayek also in it?
No,
Who am I thinking?
what's her name?
No, it's
Jordan Brewster, I think.
the freaking Jean Grey from X-Men. She was in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it was awesome. Also, is gonna make one of the my list today for kills as well. Towards the end, yeah. You would like that film. I recommend watching The Faculty. If you
It's-
haven't, it's one of the first sci-fi films I've ever watched.
At some point, I'll watch it. I've heard about it so many times that I need to get around to doing
It's a good movie. It starts with an Offspring song.
Yeah.
It's better than a Creed song.
Fair.
And it's directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Okay, I can live with that.
Actually, I think a Creed song actually plays in The Faculty, if I remember correctly.
I love it how there's just some directors that just buy you enough goodwill. Every time you say it was directed by this, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
I think at this point, a lot of horror movies in the 90s had a lot of Creed in it. Because that one had Creed.
Oh God, I don't understand why Creed was everywhere. Creed was like herpes or glitter. It's fucking everywhere.
Creed was in movies. Korn was in shows.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I started noticing that.
That's
I didn't know
weird.
that.
That's a weird fact.
Number 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. Still to this day, it holds up. It's, I think, 1973, 74. Still holds up.
The walking IMDb.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I think it was like too much for the audience at that time. And I think it was pulled from theaters. I could see why it was pulled from theaters. The big freaking guy with leather face that was made from your skin is running around with a chainsaw and killing people. So I could see why it was too much. Also, one of my favorite scenes towards the end is when there's I think it's cutting her finger so that their dad can, I guess, suck the blood or whatever off her finger. He actually did cut her finger because he was so hot in that suit, because they're filming in Texas and he's got that bodysuit and the mask on, so it's like over 100 degrees. and I guess the prop knife wasn't working. The blood wasn't coming out, so he actually just took the knife and cut her finger and just started sucking the blood out. So that was interesting fact that I found out.
Good for
So I was
them.
like, wow, that was actually her reaction to her finger being cut.
Wow.
So that was cool. And again, it holds up. If you haven't watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it might be a little too much for you, but I do recommend that. But yep, that was number 2.
Fair enough.
Fun movie.
Number 1 was Strangeland. I had to watch that again. That's with Dee Snider starring, wrote it, and I think he produced it as well.
I still need to see this movie.
You should see it.
Your wife also came up to me and said that you need to watch this movie.
I think that once we get that Blu-ray burner or ripper or whatever, we can do another guest list and have her.
Oh,
do
that's
Strangeland,
the
because
guest. Yeah.
that'd be-
Guest request.
Yeah, guest
Guest
request.
Guest request.
But yeah, Strangeland. If you're not into I call it torture porn, which is like the Saw, Hostel kind of.
Fun movies.
Yeah, fun for like me and Zach. Me and Zach enjoy those films a lot.
I'm not a.
That's
not
my
a
reaction to Hostel.
I'm not a particular fan of him, but it's Dee Snider, man.
I enjoy
So
Hostel.
it's Dee Snider. I'm gonna see.
You would love it.
I'm gonna see it because it's Dee Snider, man.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Wasn't it like one of the Corys in it too? Didn't you say that? There's a weird, like, who else is in that movie? It was like a weird cast.
I don't think he's in there.
No,
think
was there anybody in there that was
No.
relatively okay?
I don't
I
think
thought I
so.
know of.
Okay. Yeah, we watched another movie with another Corey. It was something.
We need to watch the other one.
Oh god.
Oh, I can't wait to watch that. It's gonna be fun.
And I don't want to talk about it because you don't want Silence of the Lambs, so we're not going to talk about that.
We're gonna
But it did
drop that
top 5
debate.
anyway.
Which I'm surprised.
Didn't it?
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
It's still one of my favorite movies.
It's a great movie.
it is.
Dude.
I could see why.
I'm not. I'm not gonna get into this. I personally, the only point I have is the scene where he's in the jail cell and skins that dude alive and then hangs him up on top. I don't understand how the fuck that's not a horror movie.
I think
Just by that point.
I'm gonna agree to disagree here. I'm just gonna say that it's a thriller with horror elements because the soundtrack. Rewatching it, the soundtrack and the sound design there made me feel like I was watching a thriller.
Well, same with Psycho.
Yeah.
The Psycho did the same thing. But anyway, moving on. I don't know. Do you want to talk about Splatter? Or you want to talk about the haunted houses?
I want to go through Creepshow real quick. Shudder's first season of Creepshow, 6 episodes, 2 stories each, so you get 12 stories total.
Nice.
Overall, I thought they did a really good job at capturing the spirit of Creepshow. Even though only one of the stories was based on Stephen King's story, it had that Stephen King feel to it. I had a blast with these 6 episodes. I hope they do more episodes for season 2. My favorite story of the season was the first story of the finale, which is called Skin Crawlers, which is basically a weight loss program gone very, very, very wrong.
Very wrong.
Very wrong.
God help you if there's an eclipse.
And still the best thing I've seen the vending machine do in a while.
Oh, that was.
It was
It's like, dude, why?
It was a
Why?
really, really good story, relevant to today, and it's one of those stories that does creep you out because it does. It really plays into those weight loss programs that just prey upon people's low self-esteem. So it's a very relatable issue that the story is taking on, and it has the Creepshow look to it, the Creepshow grossness to it. It has really good creature effects in it. It's a story that just hit every note it needed to hit, and it was really good. It was the standout in a season full of standouts. There were a couple stories I thought were just okay, and there was only one story that I just flat out didn't like.
Was it the genie one?
No, the genie one started off wobbly, but
Picked
I
up?
think that one
Yeah.
I think redeemed itself by the end. The one I didn't like actually had David Arquette in it,
Really?
We didn't see
we
that
did not
one.
see that one. No.
and he was like not utilized at all.
Well, that sucks. I enjoyed the Halloween one.
The Halloween one was enjoyable.
Yeah,
The Finger was a really good one.
I think it was
That was a bizarre one.
It was cool to see.
With DJ Qualls of the
New guy. It was the new guy one.
Why the heck? I know I saw it. I just don't remember what happened.
It's he basically became friends with this monster that killed the people.
That one. Yeah, that one was okay.
That was a good
I would
one.
say my favorite one was probably the Halloween one.
Okay.
The Halloween one was really good because it was a lot of guessing. Like where's this going? What angle is it taking?
That one felt like it could have been in the Trick or Treat sequel if they ever make that.
It
It felt like it could have been a
that was
Goosebumps
awesome.
episode.
I would have definitely. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Like it would have
Like
been.
an R-rated Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Like honestly, all they needed to do was like cut out like one effect, and it could have been an Are You Afraid of the Dark?
yeah.
When they took the kids' ghosts
The World
off.
War II werewolf one was fun.
I did enjoy that one.
The opening story, which you guys didn't see that one, Gray Matter, which was the one based on a Stephen King story, that one was done really well. There was another one with a dollhouse that really ramped up the tension, but I just felt like the ending of that one just kind of, it was a lot of build up for
Nothing.
not nothing, but it wasn't like a creep show payoff. Like there was definitely a lesson to be learned. I just don't know what that lesson was. But yeah, it was
All right, that's something.
There we go.
to quote Rick from the season 4 premiere. There's a lesson to be learned from this, but I'm not the one that's gonna figure it out. Yeah, we watched the season 4 premiere of Rick and Morty the other night, and
It was a really good season
It
premiere.
was a really good episode. But yeah, Creep Show. I'm really looking forward to season 2. I thought they did a fantastic job with season 1. Can't wait to see what they do. And then the three of us plus Justin watched something else called Splatter.
Holy shit.
If you guys want to talk about it, go for it.
Corey Feldman plays a rock star who kills himself.
But he's a
and
zombie now.
He invites people that wronged him to his house for the reading of his will, and zombie Corey Feldman kills them off. And Tony Todd is there, and it's shot really horribly.
And-
like everything's blown out, and the
I'm not
acting
gonna
is
say it
terrible.
was shot horribly.
And
It was
it-
okay.
David, remember Honey, I Shrunk the Kids
Yeah.
from the 90s? Not Rick Moranis, but the other dad and everything else is in it. The fat guy, the
Oh,
fat dad.
really?
He's his lawyer. He's the first person who gets killed.
That's where I know him from.
Yeah. It was driving me nuts too. I looked at it.
Directed by Joe Dante. He did Gremlins
Bro.
And Gremlins 2.
and Matinee and The Howling, which you need to finish.
I do. And somehow he did this.
I think it's his best work.
Kindly leave.
Everything has a, like, every time they're in a stairwell, a fisheye lens is used or a Joe lens.
It's very something.
The
whole experience, you're just scratching your head, going,
It was baffling. It's like, how was this? Like, what was the series of events that had to transpire to result in not only this being made, but this being made in the way that it was made?
So there's a few things about this.
Which we looked it up, and it's bizarre because
it was made like what, 10 years ago?
10 years ago.
But
And
it's-
it's an interactive experience supposedly.
Allegedly.
Now I know was this time on YouTube where people were trying to do that, where you click on like one of the boxes to make a
Correct.
fucking decision, and it would take you to a separate video where that decision is being made or whatever. I think it might have been that, but why the fuck would they release it on YouTube? Or maybe it came out on DVD at some point. You could actually interact with it.
It feels like that.
Now, why they released it on Netflix is just one thing.
It's only 29 minutes.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that the decisions that are made in that movie, like, not even talking like production wise and everything else from a filming standpoint. I'm just talking about character wise. The level of stupidity that's going on in that
So
movie
it's on
I'm seeing
Netflix.
no DVD for it.
is truly baffling.
There's a lot of questions. It's like,
And no answers.
what was the point?
And you see, and it's like the kills are. You would think the writer thinks he's being very clever, but you're just like, oh, the amplifier is going to be turned up to the point where his head explodes.
I even
And
said it out loud.
Yeah, it's like we were guessing the kills.
It's like death by disc.
The
Death by
and
head
then one girl
explosion.
who wanted to fuck the Corey zombie Feldman,
Oh,
and then when she
God.
finally got up to fuck the Corey zombie Feldman, she no longer wanted to fuck the Corey Zombie Feldman, and then she died. And that's all that happened. The end. Like
For her.
like Corey
Kind of.
Feldman was paid in cocaine to make this movie. Like there's no doubt in my fucking mind.
Sure.
They're like Corey, we could either write you a check or we could just pay you in coke. We know it's gonna end up going to coke anyway, so we might as well just cut out the middleman, and then literally cut out the middleman and then just pay you in coke. And his answer, I'm sure, was yeah, absolutely. And I'm also pretty sure this was fucking filmed at Corey Feldman's house. Like there was no set. Like this is actually Corey Feldman's.
Hey,
fucking
come over, come film.
It's like,
you have a
you know
phone
that-
booth in your living room?
It's like, that feeling you get when you watch somebody's
Feldman.
student short film and you can just tell they shot it in their apartment or one of
Yeah.
their friends' apartments. It really felt like they just shot it in Corey Feldman's house.
Okay, so and and this is how Corey Feldman's house was designed. He got a designer to come to his house. He got the designer really, really fucked up either on drugs or on booze. Got him really drunk and everything else,
Or both.
and said, "I want you to design my home the closest to the secret magic club that's in Los Angeles, where all the magicians hang out and everything else."
I stayed like right down the corner from that. It's like right next to the ASC clubhouse.
I want you to design as close as you can my house to that. And that's his fucking house.
Never seen that place before.
It's been in a couple movies and like a couple TV shows and everything else.
okay.
It's like a place where the magicians hang out and everything else. It's that mixed with, like that. And also at the same time, his set designer is the lead singer of Poison. All those things needed to culminate to design that house for Corey Feldman, and then you have that.
Huh.
So what's his name? Bret Michaels. Yeah. Bret Michaels.
Yeah.
Bret Michaels was coked out of his mind
and had nothing but a good time.
and he had some extra set house designer skills, and Corey Feldman said, "I want you to design this like the magician's place, but give it your own flair."
So it was 80s cocaine then.
It was
It's probably leftover 80s cocaine.
80s cocaine with a
So we
blend
had
of
this-
90s, and then also I'm pretty sure you could also film a Creed music video there.
And this is going to be a running trend for a while now.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Zach.
You're wrong, Mark!
Am I though?
You said tell you you're wrong.
But I
tried
think
to
I'm
make
pretty
You're
good
not
at
wrong.
stuff. No,
but
exactly.
still.
So anyway, so that's the fuck we saw,
And you said it was on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
For some reason,
and it's 30 minutes,
Really?
29.
29 minutes.
I think they just
29
needed to fill a quota of shit to put on Netflix, and they're just like,
minutes.
let's just throw this up there. Just fuck it. Why not? It fills the quota. Okay.
Huh.
I think Corey, just the way he fucking acts in these things, he describes these people like he's doing his will as alive and everything else. He's like to my skeezy lawyer who screwed me over doing this. I
give you nothing.
Like literally but it was a longer pause than that. It's like I give you nothing. Like he forgot the fucking line.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh my god,
Deuces is
it's
whispering.
It was hilarious, but
it wasn't meant to be hilarious.
You can't watch it by yourself. You have to watch it with friends.
It will make you lose hope in humanity.
So it's one of those, it's supposed to be serious, but it's not.
We don't know.
I
We
don't
no
think
idea.
so.
The same way that Corey Feldman's
Look.
music career, I have no idea.
Wait,
The,
what? Hang on, what?
Justin had you watch a clip of that.
Oh my god, that's right.
I don't know if it's supposed to be serious or it's supposed to be a comedy, or am I supposed to be on drugs?
Look,
for
if
this?
it's
I don't
anything
know.
besides a comedy, it's wrong.
Dude, literally a video of him. I will actually. You know what? Brandon's gonna put that in the link below.
Yeah.
Of Corey Feldman's.
I gotta watch that before I leave.
Corey Feldman's band performing on Good Morning America.
Really?
On Good Morning America.
It's something.
And Brandon's so sad. I'm making him put this as a link below.
Yeah,
He's just like.
I hate you.
distaste for it. The first time.
Some of Zach's evil is rubbing off on me. Good. The good. Do it.
Screw it.
Encryption is working.
Yes. Except he said, instead of saying America, I said America. The
With the apostrophe.
with the apostrophe. So yeah, we watched that. It was something. If you dare, it's on Netflix. Just look up.
Hell, if you want to, you could probably find it on YouTube.
I'm sure. It's like 30 minutes and no one cares.
I believe it's also on the Trailers from Hell website for free.
Oh God.
Either way, it's not hard to find.
It's a piece of shit, not hard to find. But
You want a good laugh? Go watch it.
All right, something to I want to talk about something that we actually enjoyed.
Okay.
Which were we enjoyed one half of it, and the other half we didn't enjoy. Were the haunted houses that we did over October. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the 3 haunted houses that we went to. Unfortunately, David could not join us for the other 2. I wish you did, man, because we got some fucking some shit to talk about. We went to Statesville Prison and also Hell's Gate down in Joliet and Lockport, which are right next to each other. They were awesome. They were truly fantastic.
They were phenomenal.
They really were. It was a hell of an experience. We had a lot of fun with them. And actually, the great part about them is they were different. Like, that's the great part. Like, the feel of them was very, very different. Statesville was very much an interior haunted house. There wasn't much else to it, but it was very engaging. It was a lot of fun.
The people interacting with people in line were fun.
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, they had a little.
One of them talked to us about Jason X and Leprechaun 4.
Yes, that actually happened.
Another trend in the 90s is that every horror icon's got to be in space somehow.
Yes.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, and knock off Rob Zombie.
One of the prison guards made Mark do push-ups.
That did happen. And I realized how incredibly out of shape I am. I completed them though. I did do that. I did complete them, but they were done very poorly. And I was exhausted, but I was also kind of jacked.
I was half tempted to kick him while he was doing it. I'm just like, this would be so
Can't do
fun.
it anymore. I'm on shit.
But actually it was a really, really great experience at Statesville. Zach and I had a contest running where we would try to spot all the security cameras in the place. Actually, Zach beat me every time, which I was really fucking pissed.
I was examining everything I could in both of those places. Like, they were just... I went through with the biggest smile plastered on my face the entire time. I wasn't sure if I was offending the people because it's just like, I'm just like...
There's 2 kinds of people that go to haunted houses.
There was one part where these people were just like, come stay with us. I'm just like, okay, Mark grabs me. No, Zach!
We have to go. We're late to go to the other one.
These are my people, though!
We'll find other people over there.
You cots blocked them?
Kind of.
They weren't that attractive.
They had makeup on.
The crazy girl at the front though was very attractive. I will give her that. Even below the crazy makeup, she's the one in the picture with all of us.
Did we ever post that picture?
No, I don't think we did.
Good job,
to
Mark.
you. You're the one that has it.
I could have sworn I sent it to you. I'll figure that out.
Find
Our
it,
social
send it
media
to us.
department.
Yeah. Communications department.
Good job.
But
Which is also the social media department.
Touche.
Ooh. It was a really, really fun experience. They had multiple different levels. There was a lot of interactive stuff there. It was a great staff. The costumes are great. The story was great. The acting was great. The set design was fantastic.
There was a story?
The story got a little bit deeper over it.
I don't know. I was just enjoying the overall experience. Like, there was a lot of like neat gimmicks, I guess you would say.
Yeah, there were a lot of neat gimmicks.
Especially the fog ones. They'd were great.
Yeah, they'd actually have one particular one where you would go through a swamp and you'd have fog like right here in lights. So it'd almost give you the illusion of being, above water. And then you would have people below that would come up on you, alligators, swamp people, whatever the case may be. It was a lot of fun. It was really interactive.
Nice.
And obviously at the very end, there was a chainsaw guy, which
Well, I mean, that was spoiled. When you're going through the line, you can just see people getting chased up by him, so you just know he's coming. You're just like, all right, where is the guy?
that
Was the only thing where we're just like, is he here yet? No. Is he here yet? No. Is it? Oh, there he is.
So the cool part about it is Statesville was very confined and everything else. It was a very, you had to walk through the passageways. Hell's Gate, on the other hand, was
Hell's Gate was my favorite.
Hell's Gate was actually probably my favorite as well.
I really don't know which. I loved them both.
I know you did, and I know you were very
You were
excited.
both-
I thought the outdoor aspect of the first half of Hell's Gate really added to the atmosphere of it. Statesville I liked, but as I mentioned to the two of you when we were done, I felt like I was too tall for that ride. Like I was literally just like walking hunched over.
I can only imagine how bad it was for it because there's this one point
You're,
where you
you're
gotta
like
crawl
2 feet
through.
shorter than me, so it wasn't as difficult for you.
I'm gonna slit your throat later.
You've said that so many times it's lost all meaning.
Yeah, until it actually happens. But there's
yeah.
one part where you gotta crawl through this like small boiler and it's just completely fogged up so you really can't see shit. I got through there no problem. I stood there for a good like 10 to 15 seconds waiting for these two to follow behind. I'm just like, I know they were behind me.
Man, no, it was. Oh my god, it hurt my back. I felt like an old man.
I was waiting to hear a clunk as one of them bumped their heads or something, but no, they found their way through.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's not anything.
Yeah, the opening world, was really
Also,
great.
Hell's Gate had Luther.
I was just about to
Luther.
talk about Luther. Brandon, this is your story. This is absolutely your story.
When we're at the actual gate to the haunted house, so it's like you're waiting in line for Hell's Gate, and there's this whole outdoor experience in the woods, which is basically a haunted house outside.
Which for the weather and everything at the time
and
was
perfect weather.
Perfect. Perfect.
But then there's this gate that is right before the actual haunted house portion of the haunted house.
Hell's Gate.
And there we go.
Oh God, why?
Was it good for you, Stanley?
It was okay.
Oh, God.
This is why we can't have nice things.
But yeah, standing outside the gate is basically scary Viking man.
Sure.
With a giant hammer.
With a giant
Hammer X.
What did Zach say to him?
No,
No, it was he asked what's your name?
He asked you, man.
He asked me? I thought he asked Zach.
No, it was you.
It was you. He actually asked, he's like, what's your name?
Okay, well he asked one of us what our name was, and we told him our name, and then he said,
He's like, do you know what my name is?
"No,
No.
Luthor." And as soon as he says Luthor,
He
it was
literally,
like a fireball.
literally pound his thing down, and the two brick, I don't know.
The
What
two
you call
brick
it?
pillars that
Pillars,
were
thank you,
attached to the
pillars.
gate just essentially shoot
Fire
fire
up
up as
into the-
high as you can see. And it just lit the entire area up as he screams his name, and we're just like... And that is probably the top moment of the night.
And
and then when we went in there, but then after we went through the gate, we were waiting in line again to get into the actual house. And we're waiting, and we're just talking, and then we hear this boom, and I'm just like, Luther said his name again.
like everyone on the line laughed and everything else. I think at one point we were walking through the gas. Like, all right, guys, we can go home now. We're not gonna see anything better than what we just saw. I don't give a shit how metal you are. You will never be as metal as Luther.
Luther was fucking awesome.
Luther is the pinnacle. If you go to Hell's Gate and everything else, you gotta go talk to Luther. It's fucking fantastic.
You'll know it's Luther because he'll say his name.
Oh,
is
he'll
Luther.
tell you.
You'll hear it and see it.
You will know. You will know. And when we got into the house, I actually really enjoyed the house.
Yeah, the house is really good.
I'm kind of with Brandon though. I think I really did enjoy Hell's Gate more than I enjoyed. The more I thought about it, I really did love them both. But if I had to pick one, I would definitely go back to Hell's Gate first.
And then there was 13th Floor, which we went to.
Oh boy.
We'll
talk. About, I mean, anything, any last minute stuff you want to talk about Hell's Gate or
Hell's Gate was great. I would like to go back next year.
Absolutely, Zach.
We're going back to both next year. I love them.
yeah.
Like
You get a
Statesville had
discount
a
for one if you go to one.
yeah. So
True.
don't buy the VIP pass to both. Buy it to one because as soon as you exit, they give you so you can just do the skip the line thing at the other one
Oh.
because they want you to go to both. So they want you to just try to get like back and forth if you can.
And
so.
the VIP pass, by the way, to skip the line is absolutely worth it at Hell's
Oh,
Gate.
yeah.
And also very much worth it at Statesville because we were in line for quite some time. Now, don't get me wrong, the line was entertaining, as it was especially entertaining at Statesville, just because there were a lot of performers. They played good music while we were there. We had fun while we were hanging out in line. So, I mean, they don't keep you bored. Like,
Yeah.
you won't be sitting there, like, playing heads up on your phone. Like, you will enjoy what's going on, in the whole environment. So, highly recommend that. Go to them, buy the VIP for one of them. If you go separate nights, still, buy it for one, and then you'll be covered.
They
for
tell
life.
you it's like it lasts, so
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
keep
exactly.
hang on to it.
So 13th floor, we
Yeah.
got skip the line. I'm just gonna say, I thought production value wise, 13th floor was probably the best as far as like the actual craft of the costumes. There was like a Demogorgon costume that was done really well.
There was.
Yeah. And like some of the costumes and some of the set designs were top notch. That being said, though, we were in and out of there less than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
20 minutes.
It was less. It was 17 minutes,
Yeah, definitely was not.
and we actually took our
worth it.
time walking through as well. It's not like we
Yeah.
rushed through it. So we took our time. Like at least I took my time to actually appreciate the set design, the costumes.
So here's one of the key differences between 13th floor and the entire Statesville Hell's Gate prison. Statesville and Hell's Gate, something's always happening and you're always moving. Like,
Yes.
you want to stay and appreciate the scenery, but something's always happening and they're keeping you moving, but there's also a lot of people behind you, so you got to keep moving.
Yeah, you
and
can't
stuff.
really appreciate like Statesville. I feel like I could not appreciate everything that was happening. It's like I couldn't. It was like I was always moving, so I couldn't be in the moment. So it's like I couldn't give myself a chance to be scared. Whereas Hell's Gate had such an overwhelming ambience. It's like I am part of an experience.
Correct.
13th floor, I could actually stop and appreciate and soak it in, but that doesn't change the fact that we paid like $60 to skip the line and we were in and out in 17 minutes.
It was,
And also, like, next to nothing happened.
nothing happened, and it was it almost was too slow. Like the performers and the environment wasn't keeping the pace. We were keeping the pace, and like
I didn't mind that so much because, like I said, I could. It was like I could actually spend some time in the haunted house.
Like, my only gripe
not
with
be-
the
I'm not-
Statesville
I'm
and
not
Hell's
being-
Gate was...
I'm not being herded through like cattle.
You just-
I get that, but it almost felt as if we were just filling time. I had a feeling if the actors really pushed us through that, we would have been in and out of there in fucking
5 minutes.
In
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that's the disappointing part about this is that it was slower because we made it slower.
It wasn't part of the experience.
Correct. We were trying to milk it from more than what it actually was.
And we didn't realize it was going to take such a short amount of time.
We didn't make
We got to
plans
the
for
end
rest
and
of
we're...
the-
Yeah,
the rest of the
we
night.
got to the end and we're just like, wait,
That was it.
That was
really?
it.
Wow, okay.
You know what?
I was expecting more for their like Halloween version of their haunted house because 13th floor does haunted houses throughout the year. They do their love bites for Valentine's, which is where I did and how I found out about 13th floor. They do the haunted house for Krampus for Christmas.
Yeah.
So like I mean, I guess if you do like haunted houses in October, probably skip 13th floor for sure.
Just go to Hell's
Yeah.
Gate and Statesville.
And go,
Those are
yeah,
the
go
main
there, but
two.
I think save it for like Valentine's Day. Go to Love Bites. It's pretty intriguing to go there, and then maybe like the Krampus for Christmas. It gives you options to go to haunted houses throughout like the
Throughout the
season,
year.
where you don't get to.
No, I get that. And I can only judge it by the experience that I had there.
Yeah.
I mean, and even
It didn't help that we were doing them back to back, and I was just on this super high of
Oh,
like, oh my
yeah.
god, this was fucking amazing. And then we do that, and it's just like,
Yeah, I mean,
it's very quiet.
you don't have to skip. I mean, you don't have to
We
skip
were
in
also
October,
the first
but
ones in there, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I do suggest not to do any of the fast pass or skip the line.
Oh,
I think
don't.
I think it'd
Which-
be worth it if you waited in line and only paid the $20
Yeah.
15,
But even
20 bucks
then,
for
would
the
it be worth it?
ticket.
Because it didn't look like they had many interactive people in the lines. Whereas with Statesville, you're not going to be bored in that line.
Yeah.
The line in 13th floor looked like a line.
Yeah.
There was just a couple of guys in big, bulky uniforms who looked like they were very uncomfortable just walking
But they
around.
also looked like they were just telling people where to go.
Honestly,
Well, if you get there early.
if I waited on the line, I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
I would have been very upset.
It's like, do you want to waste more money or more time?
yes,
But-
I should always waste more money and more time.
There was something that I noticed though when we got there. If you get there early, you'll probably most likely be in the front of the line. Because when me, Zach, and Brandon, my wife, got there early, there was like nobody there really. So like if we didn't jump the gun and gotten like the fast pass and skipped the line, we probably would have been the first ones for that part.
Yeah.
So if you do go there, try to be there by like 6:30 because usually the haunted houses there start like at around like 7.
Yeah, most haunted houses, at least all the schedules that I saw, they start at 7 and end at 11.
I mean,
Yeah.
they had like a disclaimer like don't take kids like under 12. I think it should be like don't take kids under 10. I think it's okay. Yeah, I've seen some parents
was
there.
gonna
They
say,
had
that
like
would be
their
a
kids
very-
there.
That would be a very kid-friendly haunted house,
Kinda,
at least
yeah.
compared
Yeah.
to Statesville and Hell's Gate.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah,
it's night and
absolutely.
day.
Which I saw more kids at Statesville.
Which is unusual.
That's interesting.
One of them was forced to sing "I'm a Little Teapot" in front of all of us.
Oh, that's right.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that did happen too. The
He did pretty good.
Yeah, he did pretty good. And there's a lot more like fucking preteens there and everything. I mean, when we pulled up to this place and everything else, I think we're saying it in the Instagram videos. We were literally in the middle of fucking nowhere, Jack. Like it was a cornfield, like in the middle of a highway. Like we
Nice.
got there and everything else, and
You
then
would expect Malachi to come out.
yeah, no shit. Or Jebediah. We're gonna make a barn. No, it was in the middle of fucking nowhere. The interesting part though about about going to Hell's Gate though was a lot of fun. Was the bus ride on the way there?
Yeah.
The bus ride was fun. Actually, because we all thought it was actually part of the experience until we realized that the bus driver was actually just a dick. They didn't just drive like an asshole. Like we actually thought,
He's speeding down this clear open road, and he would stop
it's a
at a few.
2-lane highway.
Everybody, including this guy, thought that they were gonna stop and like somebody was gonna hijack the bus or something like that.
Like-
and I said, twist ending, it'll turn out the bus ride is actually a bus ride.
And it was.
I totally saw it coming.
Oh my god.
Like the only weird thing he really did is he stopped at all the bus stops.
the
Even the ones that were in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. It's just like
it was
somebody
it was
getting on.
weird. It was weird. Like
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
dude, the
though.
fucking people on the bus were fucking hysterical. I was laughing so hard. There was a black couple right behind us. He's like, "Nah, man, I ain't fucking around with this bullshit. Like I see movies." Like black people die like at first or second, and I was like, plucky comic relief dies third, so I don't know what the fuck you're bitching about. I'm gonna die right after you.
He had to make it about him.
Always. Always. I'm a selfish bastard.
Selfish.
But no, like the bus driver was just driving like a dick. Like it's like literally down a 2-lane highway, flying down it for no reason. Like there wasn't even a fucking line behind us. Like when we were getting on the bus. Like if there was like 20 or 30 people waiting for the bus, I would understand. I think the bus driver was just pissed off that they had to work at night.
Either that or it was just part of the fucking like experience. Like they had the bus like decked out and everything on the inside. It was really fun. I don't care. I enjoyed it. I'm glad he was pissed because it was a fun ride.
Yeah, it was a fun. It was definitely.
And he didn't give a shit what was going on in the back. If some asshole was standing around or just bumping all over the place, fuck it, I don't care.
Whatever.
Not my problem.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as I don't die, that's just whatever.
But did you die?
died.
Then no. Then you're
Just like,
fine.
cool, get off my bus and die on the sidewalk.
Oh god, yeah, it was fucking fun. And actually, surprisingly enough, whoever was the caterer for them, like they did not have shitty food available.
Oh,
for
the
that.
food was good.
The food was actually really good outside of Hell's Gate. I
Yeah.
was very very surprised for that.
Statesville is where we got food.
No, we got Statesville outside of Hell's Gate at the very end.
Yeah, you guys got snacks outside of Statesville,
yeah.
but
Yeah, we got snacks outside of Statesville. We got food outside of Hell's Gate. They had a really good double cheeseburger.
Yeah, they did. Like it was. I was actually expecting it to be kind of shitty, but it wasn't. It was very nice. But yeah, highly recommend those. Definitely check them out. Everything about what they're doing, and I spent years going to Halloween Horror Nights in Universal, and Hell's Gate and Statesville directly compete with them, and in some areas they're better. They truly are up to par when it comes to everything that they're doing.
We're gonna try to go to that next year. As long as somebody doesn't try to pursue another wrestling career.
Oh, shut up, Zach. So yeah, no, it was definitely a fun time. We've had an interesting month, interesting October. We did. Unfortunately, David wasn't there at the time, but we were able to celebrate our 1 year anniversary, which was very, very exciting. And we're gonna continue to have many more years to come.
Oh yeah.
That being said, you want to get into our?
I have a couple of horror comics I read that I want to talk about real quick.
Cool.
I wasn't expecting us to talk about haunted houses, so I'm just going to be real quick with these.
Cool.
First one I read is the new one-shot for Lock and Key Dog Days, written by Joe Hill, aka Stephen King's son. If you have not read the main series, Lock and Key, I highly recommend it. It's arguably the greatest horror comic ever written. It's definitely up there. It's just a couple fun stories that take place in the Lock and Key universe. One of them is pretty much about a dog that's turned into a human kid. The second story, which is only a couple pages, is about the main character from the main story returning to the house. It was a very fun one-shot, and it also teases that there's going to be another Lock and Key event series coming soon, so I'm super excited about that. So yeah, if you haven't read Lock and Key, you probably won't get much out of this, but if you have read Lock and Key, it's a fun return to the series. There is supposedly a Netflix show based on the comics coming out pretty soon. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, that's me praising Lock and Key. Next up, we have Joker, Year of the Villain. The reason why that's being talked about here is because this was co-written by John Carpenter. I also got a copy for this guy, but he didn't read his copy yet, so unfortunately we can't really go in depth about it. But it's about pretty much the Joker and one of his henchmen don Batman and Robin costumes and go across the city. And it's being told from the point of view of his henchman, who has been battling mental illness since he was a kid. And it's pretty much him coming to the realization that the Joker isn't crazy. He's just evil. It was really good. I highly recommend it.
Nice.
And then next up is a little mini-series from DC called Deceased, which is basically DC's answer to the Marvel Zombies. I've gotten a variety of variant covers. This is issue 2, which is kind of modeled after the original Nightmare on Elm Street poster. You've got Poison Ivy instead of Heather Langenkamp right there. Here's a zombie Wonder Woman on with the variant cover for issue 3. Issue 4, which is kind of a takeoff on the Final Destination poster.
Nice.
Then there's a one-shot called Deceased, A Good Day to Die, which kind of follows some of the lesser known or the more supporting heroes in the DC universe. So there's actually John Constantine makes an appearance in this one, which is pretty cool. There's Zombie Harley Quinn on issue 5, and then I just got the regular cover for issue 6 because I didn't really care for either of the variants for issue 6. But yeah, basically they're not really zombies. It's like the anti-life equation that Darkseid's after gets corrupted through Cyborg and basically turns everybody into the anti-life. But for our purposes, I'll just say they're zombies. And it really is just like anti-life. Like they're not hungry. They're just, their mission is to end all life. And a lot of crazy stuff happens in it. Black Canary becomes a Green Lantern early on in the miniseries. There's a lot of other stuff that I don't want to spoil, but since that one happens pretty early, I don't mind mentioning that. It is a legit end of the world story. Like Marvel Zombies, there's like Marvel Zombies, Marvel Zombies 2, Marvel Zombies 3, Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness, Marvel Zombies Make Breakfast. It's like, how many Marvel Zombies story arcs are there, Zach?
There's the 4 main ones, which are great. Everything after that, don't care.
Okay, and I've never read them, but
They're
it's,
one of my top 5 favorite comic storylines.
Okay.
Like, it's truly one of the best
but
comic
the fact that
storylines
there are
out there.
sequels says that they probably left stuff open in them for there to be sequels, right?
There is
Or-
a pure ending.
okay.
I don't know how or where all this new crap came from, nor do I care, because modern Marvel just I don't care. Top cow.
I
Sticking
will
with that.
say I don't see how they
sorry.
could make a sequel to this, unless they kind of do what they did with the one shot where they follow characters that they didn't follow during this event.
I know that's not what they did for Marvel Zombies, because shit got weird.
But yeah, it was a very fun miniseries. Supposedly, a lot of people thought the ending sucked. I thought the last issue was pretty cool. I thought a lot of cool stuff happened with Superman and Wonder Woman, and I thought the ending was very... It was bleak, but not bleak at the same time. And yeah, I thought it was a very fun what-if story of zombies in the DC universe.
Nice.
I'd give it like a solid 7 out of 10. Maybe
Nice.
7.5.
Very cool.
I pretty much binge read all 7 issues before these guys came over, and it was a very fast and fun read.
Very cool.
Actually, everything in this stack I read right before these two came over.
Nice. Nice.
I'm going to try to make it so I start reviewing at least one horror comic per podcast going forward.
Cool.
Nice.
That's
Very
going to be
nice.
a goal of mine because I've got a whole stack that I need to catch up on.
Peruse through
Yeah.
the awesome.
So we're going to talk about favorite non-slasher horror movie kills. Do we want to take a very short break first,
Yeah,
though?
let's do that.
Let's
real
take a
quick.
very short break, and then we'll be back with our, by Mark, with our favorite non-slasher horror movie kills.
God. All right. So what are we doing, Brendan?
We are doing our favorite non-slasher horror movie kills, and we really got into it over the break about what constitutes a slasher movie. David, what is a slasher movie?
Oh my god.
What is
Mark,
First of all,
what
it's
is a
subjective.
slasher movie?
Oh God, I don't know. Some dude
Zach,
kills people.
what is my life?
It's about to end.
No, it's not.
Everything about the slasher, the definition is going to be subjective regardless.
It's gonna be very subjective.
Yeah,
It's-
like I gave myself some general guidelines, but even those I couldn't 100% adhere to. So it's just like
What were the guidelines?
pretty much what I said to myself is when I there are a few movies where it's like Phantasm was one I looked at and it is on my list. I don't know if it's one we're going to talk about in depth, but because Zach and I were talking about it, it's like Phantasm, the Tall Man, is a very iconic killer in horror movies, and he's seen it listed as a slasher movie. I've seen it listed as a slasher movie, but I've seen that movie. I've seen its sequels. They do not feel like slasher movies at all. I wouldn't even call them slasher movies. Because I don't feel like they were really built around the kills. I think there's the kills are part of the story. The story was not built around the kills. And that's kind of the general guideline I used for this. There are a few gray areas. There are 2 movies on my list where the whole movie is building towards a kill at the end. So obviously in cases like that, the story was kind of built around the kill, but it's not a slasher movie because there's not a killer in a mask or whatever with an iconic weapon just slashing and dicing teenagers that are having sex and drinking in the woods.
They're having the sex and doing the drinking in the woods, and they're smoking the devil's lettuce. Oh my God, help us all!
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Fair
Zach.
enough.
You're welcome.
Fair enough.
Devil's lettuce.
The
You lift me up when I fall, Zach.
I'm gonna stab you.
So we're gonna do it a little differently. We're not gonna do a straight up, you do your list, you do my list. We're gonna do a little bit of switch hit.
You do you, you do me.
Exactly. So David's gonna do one. Zach's gonna do one. Brandon's gonna do one. I'm gonna do one. We're gonna do it, and with some kind of concise, and then we'll go back around again. So that way we're not droning on about the same list. We can do do it quicker, do a little bit more excitement, and go from there. So, Mr. David, you may go first, sir, and then we will comment and or judge you or agree with you
Don't judge me.
or tell you you're wrong.
We will rate your selections
Judge
on a
me.
scale of 1 to 10, much like how they judge figure skaters. Have you ever seen I, Tonya?
No,
You should see I, Tonya.
Oh, dude, I have been meaning to see that. I heard it's great.
we'll do that.
I've only seen it in
So-
bits and pieces, but it's a good movie.
First one, because it's so ridiculous, is One Kill from Killer Clowns from Outer Space. One of the clowns got like boxing gloves and he's going like toe to toe with like one of the teens. And he,
I'm gonna head out.
but it's so ridiculous. That's why it's on there.
What?
It's so.
Brandon actually laughed. Holy shit!
I win.
Shit.
There's proof.
What? How?
Yes, I broke him.
You get
Yes.
your broke,
I
Brandon.
cannot believe it.
I'm not a fan of the movie, but what? I didn't know he
Brandon.
hates it that much.
So
Baby, come back.
I broke Brandon, so yay.
Apparently he hates that movie. I just thought it was
win.
And
boring.
I'm out.
He clearly just fucking despises it.
I don't hate the movie. That was the most out of left field
Exactly.
selection.
It's
you
so
could've
out of place.
picked.
How is that out of field?
I have
It's
a
Killer
few- I have
Clowns
a
from
few-
Outer Space.
So that movie has a bunch of ridiculous kills. The fucking the shadows, the cotton candy, like
Yeah.
Kinda can't.
Well, actually, let's just admit that whole movie is ridiculous and move on.
That
movie is
Oh.
so fucking stupid.
So it's all right.
So yeah, he's got the boxing gloves and then he's going toe to toe with the scene. He punches and his head goes in the garbage can.
I know.
I was like, what?
It was literally on replay at fucking Wes's.
What year did that
Watch
movie
it for
come
free
out?
on YouTube.
86.
Okay, so it was before part 8.
All right. Hey, score.
Okay,
No. Score for him for that.
88.
88.
Score for him on that one.
An upside down 9.
Is that at a 6?
6.
He gets a 9 from Brandon. Mark, what's your score?
He gets a 10 for ridiculousness.
Yes.
Is what he gets, and everything else. It's
He
my
gets a
score.
10 just
about
for
shot
breaking
factor.
Brandon.
Yeah, I know definitely a 10 for breaking Brandon. Zachary.
Okay, so there's
It
this.
needs to be a show, Breaking Brandon.
Oh my god.
It's basically just a remake of Breaking Bad, but instead of Walter White, you have me.
No.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
No one's
Zach, go ahead.
All right. So there's this great decapitation scene in this movie called Deathgasm. How many of you have
I
seen?
wish I remembered that.
How many of you have seen Deathgasm?
I have not seen Death Guy.
Okay,
That is awesome.
so essentially what happens is this guy orders this one guy to be executed, and they execute him, and he gets super pissed off at how they.
So when they execute him, you have boss man behind the desk, you have the guy that failed that's been ordered to be executed, you have henchmen in the background. Boss man orders henchmen to execute him, and the guy who's being executed mid-sentence just gets his head chopped off with one of those big swords. Is it a scimitar?
I can't remember.
It might have been. We'll just call it a big sword for right now. Blood just goes spraying everywhere. And the boss man gets so mad because they didn't lay down a sheet of plastic first. The blood just went spraying all over the floor. So he said, lay down plastic and do it again.
He screams at him.
Yeah.
You fucking lay down that plastic and you do it the
again."
fuck again.
And the henchmen are just like scrambling. It's like they put down plastic, they hold up the body. Like one of the henchmen holds up the body with the head,
Awesome.
and the other one just kind of slowly brings the sword down, while the other henchman just like, and to dawn just rolls the head off.
It's,
All right.
That movie was so.
I
I saw that at Music
Fantastic.
Box when
It
it
was.
first came out at a midnight
Oh,
screening.
lucky.
And it was like, this is before anybody knew what the movie was. And so I'm just like, Deathgasm, that sounds awesome. I'm going to go see it. And this is during a time when I just bought all my tickets online because why not? I could just walk right in. I wasn't expecting anybody to be there. It was nearly sold out.
Damn.
And at that scene, everybody in the theater was laughing so hard you could not hear the movie at all.
That is fantastic. That is super fantastic. Sir, I've not seen this movie, but I award you a 10 out of 10.
Just know, all you need to know, Norwegian, heavy metal, and blood.
Yeah.
It was a New Zealand movie.
New Zealand?
It was New Zealand.
Oh, New Zealand,
yeah.
heavy metal, and
In
blood.
fact, there's actually a character wearing a Bad Taste t-shirt in that movie.
That is super fantastic. I will be seeing that. So, David, score.
10.
Nice. Brennan, score.
I will give you a 9.8, so you have at least a little room for improvement. You should always strive to...
No, you may not. The Brendan, go.
Okay, first one I want to go to is... I'm just going to be the first... I know this movie's on at least 2 of our lists, so I'm just going to be the first one to say it. The Blob. Any of the kills in the 1988 Blob.
Nice.
Any of them.
Opposed to just the kid one that haunted all of our nights.
There is the kid getting killed in the sewer, which we all saw when we were kids, I assume.
Ugh.
I'm just
saw it
amazed
as-
they went through with it. I'm like, holy shit.
I saw it as a kid on HBO. I think I was maybe 11 or 12 at the time.
And my mom let me watch it because she thought it was very similar to the original with Steve McQueen. And it is
No.
nothing.
The original is Friendship Conquers All. The remake is Everybody You Know and Love is Probably Gonna Die.
Yeah.
And Frank Darabont co-wrote it, and he feeds off of your tears.
Yeah.
But yeah, the kid getting killed, and it's like he gets pulled under the sewer water, and he comes up and he's like all melted, and it's like that was scary as a kid. It's scary when you're an adult.
Not much changes.
I just
also-
think it's very entertaining.
I also liked the diner owner getting killed in the phone booth. Which how they did that overhead shot, it was basically just like a 2-foot tall phone booth with a doll in it, and the hair was the most expensive part because the hair is like, since it's bird's eye view, the hair is the first thing the camera sees. They needed to make sure it looks realistic. The guy getting pulled through the plumbing, of course, was great. And then there's the football player, the first football player, the one who's on the date with Shawnee Smith, when he gets pretty much taken over by the blob, and Shawnee Smith comes in and sees him reaching for help, and she screams. Which when they shot that, she thought they was gonna have like the dummy inside the blob, not the actual actor. So when she saw it, that scream was her actual reaction, and it's one of the best movie screams of all time, I think.
It's pretty fun.
That should be a topic for another podcast. Best movie screams.
I like it.
Let's write that
And then,
down.
of course, there's the other football player in the date rape mobile.
Forgot about that.
Every kill in the 1988 Blob is a masterpiece of practical effects.
Very true. David.
Alright, so I'm gonna do...
No. Score.
Oh. I never watched it, so I can't really... Yeah, I've never watched...
So I know what we're
1988
doing when we finish filming this podcast.
No. Next. Score.
I'll give you a 9 because there's always room for improvement.
Thank you. I appreciate
The
your
I give
concern for my well-being.
I give you a 10 out of 10 on that one because the blob scared the fuck out of me when I was a kid. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for
All
that.
right, David, your next one.
Does Mark got...
Dick.
He doesn't
All
have
right.
an opinion.
doesn't get one.
Since David went ridiculous, I'm gonna go ridiculous. I'm gonna say Samuel Jackson's death in Deep Blue
Son
Sea.
of a bitch.
Yes. Yes.
It is the most random shit I've ever seen in my entire life. He gives this big emotional speech about how they're gonna get out of there, and that fucker just comes up and grabs him and pulls him out. One grab.
We've got
Followed by getting
we've got to
ripped in
stick
half.
Together.
Oh, we got to stick together. We're
Wham.
gonna get out of this, and wham, and everyone, holy shit.
Surprisingly, CJ wasn't that bad for that part.
Oh my
Compared to
god.
others.
It is utterly ridiculous. Just the same as the rest of that movie is utterly ridiculous. I highly recommend that movie if
What
you've
a-
not
yes.
seen it. It is
Yes.
genetically altered sharks so they're smarter.
Makos.
In order to cure Parkinson's.
Cancer.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then and the original Punisher is in it. But-
Thomas
Yeah,
Jane.
he is
Thomas
in there.
Jane, yes.
Not the original Punisher.
Oh yeah, that was
Dolph Lundgren.
That's right. That's interesting. Anyway,
Which I actually think he had the best Punisher movie of the three.
okay. But yeah, that's definitely up there. So score
10.
10.
10 for that.
8.
Ooh.
He's just jealous because he didn't think of it first.
No.
Yeah, he's not the bigger fan. David, you may go.
So I'm gonna do a past and then a current one. So I'm gonna do current Leprechaun Origins. In there they paid kind of homage. It's like a reboot. You ever watch Leprechaun series?
Leprechaun Origins or Leprechaun Returns?
Leprechaun Returns. I think that's Origins is what WWE did with.
Yes,
Hornswoggle.
Origins is. I have a theory
Leprechaun-
that Origins is basically. My theory is they had a Chupacabra script and they're just like, let's
Basically.
just make it take place in Ireland
Yeah.
and make it a leprechaun.
Yeah, Leprechaun Returns. They paid homage to the basically to the original. They're going back. Basically, what they're doing
Didn't
with
star the
Halloween.
daughter of Jennifer Aniston's character?
Hmm?
Like the main character in
The main character in first was Jennifer Aniston, which was
right, but
Tori.
isn't the
Her
character
daughter, yeah.
Yeah, her daughter in the new
Yep.
one. Yeah.
And then so she's in there. They're going back to that original house or whatever. So there's 2 kills in there. But I'm just gonna do the one where the original, his name was Ozzy. Leprechaun comes out. He eats like a coin or whatever, right? In the original, and then so with this Leprechaun Return, he comes out, bursts out of Ozzy's stomach. It was really freaking awesome and gory. It paid homage to that because in Leprechaun Space, when one of the soldiers pissed on the Leprechaun's corpse, and then like when he's having sex, all of a sudden Leprechaun comes out of his groin
Oh,
and
my-
pops out. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, movie's
It's gotta hurt.
so ridiculous.
Back when everything had to go to space.
They always end up there. They always end
That
up
was
there.
something I didn't
And if
expect.
they survive longer than that, they go to the hood twice.
Yeah.
I think Leprechaun's the only one who's ever gone that far.
Dude, I didn't finish that.
Well,
second
actually,
set of it
Have you
more.
never seen Friday 13th Part 14, Jason in the Hood?
Or
He has a rap sequence in that.
or Halloween Resurrection.
Oh yeah.
That's next on our list, right? I can't wait
I'm
to
not
get
gonna
to
say
that.
more.
I
It's
cannot.
it's not a fun movie.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Shots
I'm
fired.
gonna
Fired on
make it
that.
Look,
entertaining.
it sounds fun when you hear, Michael Myers gets beat up by Buster Rhymes.
Oh my
It's
god, you
not-
said it.
It's really not a good movie. It's,
No,
not,
it's
it's not
not.
even so bad. It's good. It's just bad.
I'm gonna enjoy it.
The so I dig it. The especially I think the better pick of that is the one from space where he goes through his junk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a better one. Everything else. Zach, score.
9.5.
Cool. Brandon, score.
6, just because it's leprechauns, so I can't. I challenge you to fisticuffs, sir.
Do you accept my challenge, or are you a coward? Yes.
Do it.
Yes. I'm gonna give you a 9. Just because it's the same reason as Brandon. It's Leprechaun. I can't let Leprechaun get a 10 out of 10.
It's one of my favorite.
I'm sorry,
franchises.
man. I can't do it, brother. I wish I could, but I can't.
Eh.
Yeah, but it's still
To each
pretty
their
great.
own.
Though. It's indeed.
And I
Zachary.
choose not leprechaun.
Zachary.
All right, I'm gonna choose Tom Savini's death in Planet Terror.
Nice.
Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, so essentially a bunch of mutated freaks jump into this, what was it, the restaurant, bar, or whatever? I believe?
Jeff Fahey's barbecue place?
Yeah, the barbecue place. Yeah, they pin Tom Savini to a table and literally tear him into like 5 different pieces. Like head, arms, and legs, all still part of the torso attached to each piece, and they literally just rip him apart.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Nice.
That's pretty great. The Brandon, score.
9, because it's Tom Savini getting killed. So who doesn't like that?
Yeah, 9.5, because I really like that, because I've heard he's kind of a dick.
It all depends on the day.
I do think we should give special mention to what happens to Tarantino's character in that one as well. His
forgot.
balls melt off.
Oh, is that what happens?
Ugh.
There's a lot of
a
testicles.
really good
There was a lot of testicles in that movie.
Hey, well,
In fact, there's a whole bag of them.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
score.
9.
9. Beautiful. Brennan, go.
Okay, this one I put on here just because of how pure evil this one is, and that's the bus scene from Trick or Treat. Have
I
you
haven't
seen it?
I've not seen it yet.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about then. It's pretty sick and twisted, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So basically, this is a story that's told in flashback in the movie, but it's a true story in the movie. And what it is there's the school bus for the mentally challenged kids. And basically, one Halloween, all the parents pretty much pay off the bus driver to essentially drive the bus off of a cliff and kill their kids
Jesus.
for them because they're tired of taking care of them.
It's
Wow.
pretty
Yeah.
evil.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Damn!
Yeah. And just the way the tension builds within the scene, it's just like you can actually feel the oxygen leaving your body as you're watching it happen.
Ugh.
Um,
I need to take a shower after
yeah,
this.
like
Shit.
it's not a kill. It's not a horror movie kill that you revel in, but it's just one that's just like
Disturbing.
just like it really does hit the power of you just watched people lose their lives. Like it is a horror movie kill that takes killing seriously. And I think it does deserve special mention because it really does. It doesn't glorify it at all. It shows it as what it is, as what a sick, disgusting act it actually is.
Damn. No score for this one. I don't want to score it. You know what? Actually, fuck it. I scored everybody else's. David?
Damn, you put me on a spot 10
Dan?
because it's so messed up.
Yeah. Zach?
9.7.
I gotta give it a 9, man. But the only reason I'm giving it a 9 is because it's so fucking evil. I can't give it a
It
10.
is evil.
And like I think
Yeah.
part of my karma will get back to me.
I'm only
Just
saying 9.7 because I haven't seen it and I don't know.
I was
how
gonna do 1, but
hilarious
now I
it
don't
is.
want to because it got really dark in here and everything else.
Brighten up the mood, Mark. We need it. Not to put any pressure on
Yeah,
you.
no shit. I have a
pressure.
performance anxiety. I'm gonna make Zach tell me to go fuck off because I'm gonna choose one of his favorite movies, and I think it's really really fucking important because it is one of the best movie kills ever. Is the opening scene to Jaws. It
I'll
makes
just cross that one off our list now.
it makes every at least top 10, top 5 scariest scenes of all time. It is a masterclass at fucking building tension and making a scary fucking scene. And you don't see any gore. It has that psycho brilliance to it. And there's so much working there. With how it was done, how it was handled. And also the more important part of that is it's a shark attack. It's not, Norman Bates. It's not Michael Myers. It's not a supernatural thing from fucking space. It's a goddamn shark. And if that was actually happening in real life and everything else, and it was the middle of the night, and that girl was out there would be no one to help her. Zero. No fucking person. And that's what makes it great, is because not only is it a masterclass in making horror suspense, that shit could really happen. And it has happened in the past. So
Will happen. Yeah.
and will continue to happen. I mean, it's the circle of life. But that is one of the best horror scenes that's a non-slasher scene ever. That's one of my favorites. Anything else?
That was definitely on my list as well. I did want to briefly mention it. Like when I made my list, Like I have the Alien chest burster on there. I have the Jaws, but I did want to. As far as ones I wanted to bring up, more maybe lesser known ones.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, David, score.
10.
10.
I love Jaws.
You're making me rate Jaws.
Yes, I am making you rate Jaws.
That was my rating.
Okay. The
Oh.
You get 5 shark teeth out of 5.1 shark teeth.
okay, David.
So next one. This one brings me great pleasure. House of Wax, Paris Hilton's kill.
10. All right,
That's all I don't need to say anymore.
And no, we're
Moving
good.
on.
We're good, Zach.
Well, let's-
Also, another great movie with her face coming off. Reap of the Genetic Opera and everything
You
else.
gotta get him to watch that.
Dude, you would
I will love
absolutely enjoy that and everything else. It's super great.
just watch movies where Paris Hilton gets murdered.
And then also Alexa Vega's in it, and she's gorgeous. I think your wife's in love with her too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Paris Hilton. Everybody give it a 10. Cool. Zach, go.
All right. Evil Dead 2013. Whoever the fuck the blonde chick was. I have no idea what her name in the movie is. I just know that this girl gets brutalized. So, starts off, she makes the dumb decision to go into the basement where the possessed sister is.
Of course.
Yeah, gets locked in, so that's already going to start off with a good time. The possessed sister decides to cut her tongue in half and then make out
Oh yeah, I remember that.
in the girl's mouth.
Nice.
Boyfriend comes and saves her. She's stuck in the kitchen now. I believe her hand also got bit as well. And then her hand starts like changing, getting infected and stuff like that. And she proceeds to... Yes, I believe that's her. What was her name in the movie?
Elizabeth Blackmore?
Elizabeth Blackmore, sure. She proceeds to slice off her entire arm with... what is that thing you use to cut turkeys with during Thanksgiving?
Bone saw.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
not a bone
Saw.
saw, but it cleaved the entire arm off. And then she finally... Yeah.
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah. And she dies brutally, painfully, wakes up possessed, and then gets her head blown off with a double-barrel shotgun.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Shitty
Out of
day.
everyone in that movie,
Shitty
she's
day.
the one who suffered the most.
Shitty day for her. Did I ever tell you that story about showing one of my coworkers that the Red Band trailer for that? I had the phone like this. I had watched it a little bit before, and this was even before trailer reactions were really that popular. But I would have loved to got her reaction. I had the camera and the phone like this and everything else, so I couldn't see the screen. I can hear everything, and hear her talking and everything else. That scene comes up where she does the thing, and then she makes out with her and everything else, and all I hear from the other see from the other side is, "No, no." What is she gonna do? No, 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 no. That's so messed up. And that was great. I wish you got that reaction. I would have made so much money on
Have we
YouTube.
brought you through Ash vs. Evil Dead yet? The show?
No, we haven't. What do you mean brought it up?
Like, have you watched it yet?
Oh, I haven't completed the whole series. I watched the first season.
Okay, so you've not gotten to season 2 yet.
I have not gotten to
So
season.
you have not gotten to the morgue yet.
No.
I can't wait till you see the morgue.
Fair enough. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I just haven't got a chance. I have Stars now, so I can watch it.
Good.
The
It's also on Netflix.
Oh, that's right. It is on Netflix. Nice. All right.
It's also on Blu-ray.
So score for Zach. David.
9.
Cool. Brennan.
I'll give his description of it an 8, but I'll give the kill itself a 6, averaging at a 7, just for the pure reason of I really don't remember the movie all that well.
Fair enough. I will give it an 8.5 as a grand total. It is. Brennan, you're next.
I'm gonna go with a much lighter pick for this one.
That's okay.
And this is sort of a two-way tie because the kills are very similar, but I love them both for similar reasons. And that's the head explosion from Scanners and the full body explosion from The Fury. The movies were released 3 years apart. The Fury in 1978, Scanners in 1981. Plots are very similar. Scanners, of course, is directed by David Cronenberg. The Fury is directed by Brian De Palma. both movies I think are just kind of okay as a whole. But of course, the head explosion from Scanners is great. I mean, you've seen the artwork I got from Cavity Colors of that head explosion, and it's just like all the chunks of blood and skull and brain and everything in the head explosion is just phenomenal, and just like the actor as he's just like feels it and just boom, which they had a shotgun on set for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how they made the boom happen. And then there's a full body explosion in the Fury, and it's like Scanners, the head explosion is like the catalyst for the plot, whereas the Fury, the full body explosion, is the climax of the story. And what I really like about the Fury is the movie's just building up towards it, and Brian De Palma just shows it to you from every conceivable angle. And you have John Williams music for the score.
Why the hell not?
It was the year after Star Wars, and yeah, so it's like John Williams did the score for the Fury, so it's like you get John Williams music to a full body explosion. Like it took them I think 3 hours to get all the blood out of there and reset so they can get all the angles. Like,
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
yeah.
Nice. That's super sweet. David, score.
9.5.
Zach.
6.5.
Cool.
It's very simple.
I enjoy that because I've seen that head explosion very much so I will give it a 8.9. And all right, so I'm gonna put my one ahead. Spoilers are definitely gonna happen just because I know the emotional outburst that's gonna happen after this. When I say that, the end of Cabin in the Woods, everything that happens at the end of Cabin in the Woods. That's all I need to say about that. All the deaths, everything, the chaos, the riots, everything that happens at the end, the fuck it all scene, as I call it.
What's your favorite one?
Oh, there's so many good ones in that.
There are two that come to mind for me, but I'm curious what you come
okay, so it's the two ones are when the elevators open for the very first time and everything else, and then of course the merman.
Okay.
The
Merman was one of the two I was thinking of.
Those are my two favorite. What do you what's your other one?
The unicorn goring a guy.
Yes. Oh, and there was one I love, and it's such a subtle fucking nod, and I think Zach may be the only person that really knows it. There was a subtle nod to the video game Fear in the
Dude, there was a lot of video game nods in that. Like, you can see a tank from Left 4 Dead in one of the boxes.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Because weren't they supposed to have like a tie-in with Left 4 Dead
Yeah,
at
they
one
were
point?
going to. I forgot how that deal fell through, but they still left them in there. It's just so far that you couldn't really, like, pin enough
Probably had
details.
something to do with the fact the movie was shelved for like a year or two after it was filmed.
Well, yeah, because MGM went
bankrupt.
bankrupt, and then Lionsgate bought the rights for it.
Yeah, that probably is one of the main things.
I know in Fear though, right at the end, when they're running out and everything else, the soldier is trying to get away, and the ghost girl from Fear is actually following
Alma?
is actually following one of the soldiers. It's a very, very subtle nod, but you don't.
Yeah, that scene where you see all the boxes, there's a lot in there.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of shit. Cabin in the Woods. You haven't seen it? It's fucking awesome. See it. The David score.
9.
9. Zach score.
7.5. You were too general.
Whatever. Brandon score.
Same as Zach.
Cool. But what about my two kills though? How would you rate that?
The Merman one I would probably rate an 8, and the Unicorn one 7.5. I don't know.
Unicorn was mine.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm just saying
still,
between the two, it's
but
just
still.
like those. I would have loved if they would have held and done more like individual kills instead of just like get them all in there as quickly as possible.
Well, the security cams did that though, for the most part.
But they're security cams.
I know, but you do see a lot of them though. You do see a lot of.
We
shit
could have
going
spent a whole hour in that room, that whole facility. And
Oh
that
yeah,
would've been very
you
satisfying.
Definitely said, but they, that's also going to take away from the chaos.
No,
Like,
it isn't.
Yeah, it's part of the fun of it.
No, it isn't.
So, David.
Right. Next kill for me is a current kill. Stephen King's the remake, second part. Girl goes under the bleachers and
Wait, the movie's called The Remake?
no, don't be a jerk.
It's Zach.
No,
he's
he's
gonna
gotta
be,
be-
He's gonna be a dick.
At
It's gonna
least-
happen.
At least one per episode.
Oh, at least.
But yeah, one of the girls, little girl goes under the bleachers, and
Good fucking scene.
yeah, and Pennywise eventually lunches and bites her head.
It's super.
It's really
It's super fucking like clever how they built that tension,
Yep.
especially with the counting. And I was like, this is really good.
So-
It's better than it probably should have and could have been.
Yeah.
Considering the movie as a whole had its problems.
yeah. But
The-
that
I
was
really
one
hope-
of my favorite kills, though.
I really hope that the video release for it, includes extended, more unrated versions of these kills, because it was a really good setup and a really great kill, but it's just there and then it's just gone. I'm just like,
yeah.
show me payoff.
There's a lot of
Just-
stuff, yeah.
What are you doing?
Like the beginning there were no payoff towards the end, but
Fair enough. So
But,
the
yeah.
Zach score.
7 because I feel like it's a slasher.
Fair enough. Brandon score. he
monster.
didn't like the movie, so
Like,
It's
I-
a
you
great.
can judge it
I'm
on the
like,
movie.
it's a weird. This scoring thing is a little weird for me because on one point the movie as a whole really did nothing for me, and I will say that was probably the most tension-filled part of the movie, but it left me with no impact. So it's like I'm glad you walked away with an impact from it.
Yeah.
Enough so that you'll call it one of your favorite non-slasher kills. So I don't want to take anything away from that, but I literally forgot about it until you mentioned it. So it's kind of like I'll give it a 5.5 just straight down the middle because I don't want to take anything away from you, but also I didn't care for the movie. So it's like how do I score this?
It's one of the only things I cared about for the film overall.
fair enough. So and then we'll do one more background to David, and then we'll do one more after that. So
Cool.
here and then
So that's one more for him and 2 more for the rest of us?
Correct.
Okay.
correct. Zachary, your turn.
All right, I'm just gonna get this one out of the way. The alien chestbuster scene.
Of course.
Chest burster. You said Buster.
Chestbuster.
Buster
Chest
Booster.
Who are you gonna
Booster.
call?
The
Chest busters.
I'm gonna call this knife right here and
Zach, put the knife away. I don't think there's really much else you need to say about that.
It's such a beautiful,
It is.
iconic scene.
It's fantastic. It was an ingenious.
Stretch this out more. I'm still trying to decide.
And, like, you picked the most obvious one. Like, there's not much to talk about. Like, I could talk about how awesome. The only other, like, there's one other death
So
scene.
talk about Veronica Cartwright's reaction to it.
Oh my god!
She didn't know that was gonna happen.
She did not know it was
I
gonna
don't think
happen.
nobody knew it was gonna happen.
This is true.
All those reactions were legitimate.
There's a,
While the writers were standing in the back while Renko is giggling like fucking skull.
yeah, that is
Parody of that.
accurate.
Oh my god, what is that? A possum?
There.
I just do a parody.
Oh my god. Or the one from Spaceballs. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
I wish Alien Covenant didn't
Nice.
rip that scene off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's one other death in that movie that gets overlooked a lot because the chest
The
bursters.
android death?
No. The guy with the cat's death. I love
Really?
I love the tension in that scene. I
Really?
love the
I
tension
didn't
in that
remember
scene.
that.
That's the one where
He's essentially the first guy to actually get killed by the full-blown xenomorph.
Yes.
I also considered putting the air duct in this, but it happens off screen, and then the director's cut kind of destroys that.
Well, there's that, and then also the thing that ruins that one for me is the alien goes, "Hello,"
Yeah.
just hands out. It like I love it, but it's also just like, "Hi."
Hug me.
That's essentially
That's
what
like
it is.
why.
He turns around, he's just like, "Daddy." Like-
they're not evil. They're just misunderstood.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, good direction, Ridley.
Anyway, won't be the first time he's messed up. Brendan. He's having trouble picking. Performance anxiety. Just close your eyes and point.
Quick, Mark, grab the flag and let's get to the helicopter.
Why? Why? Because you fucking leave before anybody else gets there. Why would I even want to bother to run to that?
Okay, so this one,
Fuck you.
Also,
like, I have 2 left, and there are 3 I want to talk about.
I will allow you to do 2 ones. To do
But
Two ones?
and when we finish up, I'll just go through my list quickly just kind of power through it. But okay, I think I'm gonna go with this one just because, like, I watched this one when I was going through college, so that was still the period of our lives when it's like we're watching the movies that are gonna influence us and everything. And I just thought this was just a really well shot death, where it's like you don't. It's one of those things where it's like you don't see what happens, but you know exactly what happens. And that's the pool scene from the Swedish movie Let the Right One In, which is a vampire movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was remade as Let Me In 2010 with Chloe Moretz.
So you're just talking about the Swedish
I'm
version.
talking about the Swedish
the original
one.
I've heard that one is vastly superior.
I like them both, but I will give the edge to the original because of the pool scene. Both movies have the pool scene, but the execution is ultimately the results are the same, but the way they show it is different. And so what happens is the main kid in Let the Right One In, Let Me In, is basically being bullied throughout the movie. Something happens in the middle of the movie where he disfigures one of his bullies, and at the end when he's at basically the pool at his school just by himself, and this is after he kind of breaks up with the vampire girl. The bullies come back, but the one he disfigured comes back with his older brother, and basically the older brother holds the main boy, under the pool, and is basically just tells him, if you hold your breath for like 5 or 6 minutes, it's like 1 minute more than how long the human body can actually go before you drown, essentially. And he's just holding the boy underneath, and it's like you see the boy underneath it's an underwater shot, and you see the arm, and then all of a sudden you just see this part of this body is flying partway through the water, with the boy eyes still closed, and then the severed arm of the bully's brother just kind of floats down.
Oh shit!
So it's like it shows you everything you need to know without actually showing you, and it was just done really brilliantly because it's still staying with the point of view of the main character, but still shows you everything you need to know about what's going on. So basically, that's the climax of the movie, and I kind of feel bad spoiling it for you guys because I think it's a brilliant movie, but I still think you guys should check it out.
Could have said spoiler alert.
I probably should have. In the remake of Let Me In, the content of the scene is the same, but when the vampire girl comes in and kills the bullies, the scene does cut to above the pool, so you see everything happen, and you see everything that happens, but I feel like it lessens the impact. Both are still good movies, but I give the edge to the Swedish original.
Nice. Man, it's a tie for me.
Rate me, Mark.
Two of them.
He's 8.5 for that.
Oh, I almost forgot. Oh, look at you. You remembered already. David, rate him.
8.5.
Nice. Zach, rate him.
8.1.
I'm going to give... You know what? You've actually made me want to watch this movie, so I'm going to give it an 8.5 for now. But when I imagine my score will probably go up once I actually watch the movie, because it sounds really good.
Yeah.
Your
All
score lowered because of that dance.
All right, you know what? This movie is a movie. It's definitely stupid, but the opening scene is fantastic. Specifically the dance portion scene of Ghost Ship. The opening scene of that movie is fan-fucking-tastic. And the wire decapitation, more specifically, is super fucking great. If you haven't, I don't know if you've ever seen Ghost Ship.
I've seen the beginning of it,
Okay.
and then I watched
He's seen the
little-
only part he needs
Yeah,
to
you already
see.
did.
I
You
watched
already
a
did.
little more of it, and I just kind of got bored.
I don't know what the fuck
Um,
happened with that movie.
But it started bringing back my cruise ship PTSD.
Yeah, it'll do that. For anybody who hasn't seen it, the opening scene of Ghost Ship, I'm certainly not spoiling anything. There's a little girl who's on a cruise ship in the 50s, I guess, with her parents, and the captain is gonna dance with her.
It's the captain's toast dinner, I
the coast.
believe,
Yes, correct.
which they still had that even back then. They
did.
still have it now.
Yep. Still didn't get rid of it. So, and during the scene, a wire is set above the whole dance floor, and somebody launches, it releases some kind of mechanism, and it goes down and decapitates the entire fucking dance
It doesn't
floor.
decapitate. It splits everybody from the waist in half.
Oh, well, some people from the waist half, some people from half the head.
Oh, well,
The-
because it was coming down. Okay.
the captain actually gets half of his head like sawed off, and literally he's dancing, and it actually goes through his mouth. He's dancing with the little girl, and his head slides the fuck off. It's crazy awesome.
It starts off with such a beautiful bang, and then
it kind of fizzles out into a
like the only parts I remember about that movie were that scene, the red dress chick somewhere standing in a hall, and the very ending, which I don't even remember the context of the ending. I just remember people walking off a ship.
all the souls get away, and then it restarts, and then a decent song by Mud Evil.
There you go.
That is it, bro.
2000s ghost movie.
Pretty much. But that being said, it's a really, really solid opening scene. I think everyone who sees it all says
It's
that-
universally agreed.
universally agreed on that. It's a great open scene, great effects, great tension. Everything that happens in the first 5 minutes of that movie is fantastic. The actual, everything that happens after that, people are getting brutally murdered in the hallways while this little girl is getting chased down a hallway by like 5 other dudes, and then they push her into one of the actual rooms, and then they close the door, and then you assume she gets killed after that. But everything that happens in the first 5 minutes is great. It's just a great horror scene in general. So highly recommend seeing that first 5 minutes. David, score.
I haven't watched it, so I'm gonna have to do an 8.
Fair enough. Zach.
10. It's a really damn good scene.
I'll give it an 8. It was a good scene. I do still want to see the full movie because I have been interested in seeing it because I actually have the American Cinematographer issue that covers it.
Really?
And little fun fact, it beat out Attack of the Clones for the cover story.
That is interesting and weird. That's fucking.
Say what you want
weird.
about Attack of the Clones.
It's
a much better movie than Ghost Ship.
It's probably better. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first 5 minutes is fantastic.
Yeah, that's it.
But I would probably rather watch Attack of the Clones than watch fucking Ghost Ship.
Look, Attack of the Clones is Citizen Kane compared to Ghost Ship.
Well, I don't know about all that, but the
George Lucas decreed it. It is so.
But that was in relation to Rise of Slappy?
I don't.
Goosebumps 3, Rise of Slappy.
Nice. Oh god. But yeah, that's god. I want to read this issue just out of curiosity. I want to borrow that from you, or I'll read it while I'm here.
I gotta find it in all my stacks of American Cinematographer that I have.
I'll see it in a year. David, last round.
Last one might be a spoiler if you haven't watched this film, but I'm going back to The Faculty.
All right.
Towards the end, it's the ending. Elijah Wood's character captures the queen basically to kill it. So if you don't know the story behind it, a parasite invades their high school. Everybody's basically got this parasite as a host, so they're taking over the high school. Elijah Wood's character is the only one who is not in the whole town. Captures the queen, kills the queen, shoves these, I guess it's a drug that one of the high school students made, because he's a drug dealer or whatever. It's called scat. It looks like cocaine, but it's in a pen or whatever, so they find out, doing research or whatever, that it dries out the parasite. So
nice.
he's got maybe 6 or 7 of them in his hand. He's like, all right, it's time to die or whatever. And stabs the big parasite queen in the eye, and then shoots these like mini parasites
Nice.
on Elijah Wood's face. So they're trying to enter his body through his face, and it's really cool. His performance sells it all. You see the I don't know if it's like CGI or whatever, but you can see like with the makeup, Elijah Wood's face is kind of swollen. You can see the parasites going in. He's just screaming, ah, ah. It's really cool and disturbing. One of my favorite kills.
Nice. I dig it. Zach.
7.
Cool. Brandon.
I'll give it a 9.5. I really like this one. I really like that you did a reversal of it's the main character killing the monster rather than the monster killing the character in this one.
I like that. That's cool too. I agree. I agree. I'm gonna give that an 8.9, sir. It's gonna be solid. Zachary. Focus.
Oh, sorry.
Last one.
Okay, I'll go with that one, Steve.
He's talking to the cat again.
Oh god, he's such a fucking weirdo.
King Willie's death in Predator 2. And I go with that one because it was such a well shot, well sound designed. Everything about that scene was just set up so perfectly. The screen happens off camera, which is annoying. It's the only annoying part about it, but the way they set it up, Harrigan leaves with King Willie's gang members, and he knows the fucking Predator's coming after him, and this Predator just jumps off the fucking rooftop, lands in this huge puddle, and makes this big gigantic splash. King Willie turns around, he's like, oh fuck. And then you get this low angle shot of the Predator just walking and stomping in the puddle, just making his presence known, and he's just this menacing fucking character. And he gets up on King Willie, overshadows him, he draws his sword, and then the next shot is him holding the Predator holding King Willie's head in the Predator ship. The soundtrack to that, the way it was shot, the way they sound designed the Predator, Kevin Peter Hall's acting as everything about that scene was perfect. The only thing that was stupid was they did the same thing they did in Predator 1, and they cut away from what probably would have been well, actually, no, King Willie's death would have been pretty fucking quick, but still.
Okay.
Like, out of all the Predator movies, that one is my favorite just setup scene.
Just like the fight we missed between the Native American dude and fucking Predator that they cut away from.
Yep, Predator 1.
So still pissed off about that. The David score.
8.5.
Nice. Brendan score.
I'm going to give it a 5. My reasons being I don't remember any of Predator 2, but also I don't really consider Predator 2 horror. I consider it sci-fi action. So
I would say the first 2 movies can be put in the horror genre. Everything else after that is just no.
Well, you don't care for anything else. I give it an 8.0. I have not. I actually have seen only bits and pieces of Predator 2, but I am such a massive fan of the first one that I automatically will bleed over a positive score from the first one.
Yeah.
So good sir. It's the final.
there are 2 that I'm deciding between.
Do them both.
And
Just go with Sinister.
It's funny because both of these I have similar but different stories to, in which there are 2 people on either side of me sitting next to me as I'm watching both of these. Both are situations where I wanted to share these movies with someone. So I'll just briefly mention the one, but it's like one of the movies, the 2 people I was sitting next to just didn't like it, and the other movie, which is the one I'll be going over soon. But yeah, the one that my friends did not enjoy was the kid's death in Halloween 3.
That movie was so boring.
I like the movie.
Tom Atkins is great in it, but he couldn't save that movie.
But no, it's in that basically there are Halloween masks that are manufactured with witchcraft, And if you're wearing them while you're watching a certain commercial, your head essentially just like melts into like bugs and gross stuff. And they pretty much the first brutal kill. I believe there are other kills that are of like robots and stuff earlier on, but
Very simple stuff.
the first actual human kill that I can think of in that movie was a kid, and it was a pretty shocking kill. It was pretty well done. But the one I really want to talk about, and actually now that I think about it, I have 3 different stories involving this movie. So I'll start with I'll build up to what this movie is. But the history of this movie starts with
I already know what it is.
I watched the movie on my own, and it became I need to show this to people kind of movie. The first people I showed it to was Zachary here and our friend Wes. And the movie sent Wes on an entire emotional breakdown. And then I watched this movie again in preparation for our second episode of this podcast where we talked about body horror. And Mark walked in on this scene, which takes place in the last 15 minutes, and sent him on a whole emotional rant during that podcast. Check out our second episode about body horror if you'd like to hear that. It is well worth your time.
He pulled his head out of his own ass.
We're getting to that. And then the third time, we saw a film print screening of this at Music Box.
David's still trying to get
All
over
of
it.
us were there. I had him on my right side, Jill on my left side, and I believe they were the only 2 who hadn't seen any of the movie. So I sat between the 2 people who had never seen, who had no idea what was coming at all. And I could hear both of their reactions. I could see both of their faces. I was never so happy in my life, at least during that week. I don't think our friendship was ever the same after that one.
We're still friends.
But no, so
It came close.
But
It came
yes,
close.
the movie,
Nice.
I don't want to leave our audience in suspense, but the movie is, of course, Brian Yuzna's Society. And I'm talking about the let's get to the bottom of this.
Oh, God.
Where basically the shunting, they kill the one kid, and it's just goes beyond that, and it's like just the makeup in it, and the bizarreness, and the reactions you see from the audience during it. And it's like, it's funny because there's always little intricacies in that scene that I pick up every time I see it. The last time I saw it when we were in the theater, it's the mayor before he pretty much reaches into the kid's butthole and he points out he's got this little mole on his cheek, and then after they're done eating, absorbing, whatever, shunting him, the mayor has that little mole on him now.
You didn't notice that?
I never noticed that.
I noticed that the first time when I watched it.
Yeah.
Like I noticed the mayor pointing out the mole afterwards, but I never noticed him pointing out the mole on the kid beforehand.
Oh my god! That fucking movie.
I've never had a bad experience watching that movie.
My favorite part about seeing that movie in the theater is I was just looking at the crowd, and you could tell it's just like
You could tell who'd seen it
they
before.
they were so they're bringing this person who's clearly never seen it before. That soccer mom is in for one hell of a surprise in 5 minutes. And it's just like that's essentially what it was. Everybody was bringing somebody, and it was somebody who
Who were
never.
you sitting next to during the screening?
Me.
Just him?
I think it was him and Vinny.
Him and Vinny? Okay.
Yeah, but Vinny, funny enough, had already seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
I think Vinny was the first person I met who'd actually seen it prior without any
any previous knowledge
Yeah.
and everything else.
I feel sorry for you. Like, I got to sit next to 2 people who had no idea what was coming. And
Are
they
you
both
kidding? I
had...
had a blast because he didn't see the rest of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So he didn't see everything.
He
No,
only
I-
saw the
fucking
payoff. He didn't see the build up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
see the
didn't
build-up.
see the fuck me eyes originally.
There was some serious, like,
fuck me eyes.
Nala from Lion King, fuck me eyes. Like, hardcore, serious fuck
The only
me
thing
eyes.
that would have made that screening better is if Wes would have showed up, because you just... Wes and Kaylin.
I've
they-
got another movie we gotta show Wes.
Well, yeah,
But
that's
we'll
where
get to that.
I
But that's for another day and everything else. David, score.
10.
10.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Dude, you know, and I gotta give it a 10. And actually, and the one thing I was gonna mention though is we all joke about it and everything else, but I really, it's undeniable how effective that scene, that particular thing that you're talking about, because, you know, we're the fans of the Evil Dead and bad things happen. That dude dies badly. Badly. Like, suffers for a long period of time before he finally turned inside out. Like, badly. Like, they go into all areas of his fucking skin.
Yep.
Like, he dies badly and painfully. So we never find out what shunting really is in life.
It is an actual word. So before you do yours, do you want to just power through the rest of my list, or do I power through after you do yours?
Brandon, power through yours, buddy.
Okay.
I know because he's gonna want to anyway.
I have the 1931 Boris Karloff Frankenstein, where he kills a little girl, throws her into the pond.
Yep.
Just historical significance for that one. We've talked about the Jaws opening scene, of course. There's the prom scene from Carrie.
Yes.
There's that first silver ball kill from Phantasm, where it's just like the guy's brains get splurted out everywhere. Alien chest burster, as we discussed. From Zombie, the girl getting her eyeball just. I had the shirt that I wore during the Tony interview. The defibrillator scene from The Thing, of course.
Of course.
There's the villain dying at the end of Day of the Dead, just getting his guts ripped out. There's the hospital scene from Exorcist 3. There's the finale of The Ring, of the girl crawling out of the TV to kill the guy. There's the finale of Sinister. There's the finale of Oculus. Those are the two movies I already talked about earlier, where it's the whole movie's building up to the kills.
Right.
So after that little AV mishap we just had, coming back from fixing that,
Brandon's gonna power through his list.
yeah, Sinister and Oculus are the two movies I was talking about that were just building towards the kill. And then the last one on my list is, just because of how much I love the shot, that second family getting killed all at once in Us.
I really love that scene.
Yeah. You'll never
Love
listen
it.
to the Beach Boys the same ever again.
And you won't listen to NWA the same way again either.
Nice.
Just remember in the theater, Mark, just going.
Dude, I was so excited.
Smart,
Everybody's
what's your
just
last
looking at him
one?
like, oh my god.
All right, I got last two. Maybe since Brandon compiled his.
That's the monitor.
All right, cool.
I don't know why it's doing that when the charter said the monitor battery's at 100%, but
Who knows? So I got two last ones that I really actually, you know what? I'm gonna do three. The Cloverfield when the girl explodes, which I really dig. It's up or down for most people. I really dig it. I think it adds really good tension to the movie, and it's a really cool scene. I do love the two deaths from The Omen. It's All for You, Damien, and then also the head decapitation from that, which I think is pretty cool. And then one I love, man, because it's fucking hilarious, is the blender from Unfriended. And the fat kid that puts his
Shoves his hand.
shoves his hand directly into a fucking blender, and then cracks the blender, and then puts his own neck into the blender.
It's so fucking stupid.
But it's so great. Highly recommend it. The Unfriended is a lot of fun, like we talked about before. I would still see it, just because those people are terrible and it's fun to watch them die. But yeah, that's David. Last score for Brandon and for me.
Let's see. Brandon, we did his.
We did his.
Yeah,
Never
we
mind.
did.
For me,
You 8.
Zach.
7.
which one am I rating?
Do all three.
Cloverfield 6.5.
Cool.
Omen 8.5.
Yep.
Unfriended, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, so 2.2.
Sweet. All right, that's well, and I think that's actually a pretty awesome topic. Go ahead and put your favorite in the comments below. We'd love to hear about it.
Favorite non-slasher horror movie
That
kills. Also, tell us what you think your personal guidelines for what constitutes a slasher movie is.
Because
Please,
clearly all three of our
please.
definitions are different.
Or we or
There are 4 of us here, Zach.
Yeah, I always forget.
or better yet, we,
Forgets about me.
or apparently we don't. We just don't know.
It's because you're a transfer student. I'm sorry. You don't even go here.
The
Exchange student.
your credits don't apply here, sir.
You guys, I'm going out.
Damn!
Oh, just sit down.
Just sit down, you big
So that's 2 of us who have
Private.
left during this podcast.
2 were broken. 2 remain. Alrighty, so it is time for Mark's question of the podcast.
Oh, we still have whole 2 other sections to go through. For
We
this one.
do. This should
All right, no, we're doing the question of the podcast. That's it. This thing's already way too damn long.
It's pretty long.
Yeah.
Make the answers quick.
You know what? All right. So this should be decently quick. What is a horror movie that you that most people love that you find incredibly bad or incredibly you just fucking hate it? It's stupid. You don't care for it altogether. I already know your answer. But I am very much looking forward to hearing all of your answers.
So have
So
to come back to me. on
fair
that
enough.
one.
Zach,
Scream.
I again don't understand why there's way worse ones out there.
Yeah, because it single-handedly ruined the slasher genre.
No, it didn't. It actually
Arguably the horror movie genre.
it actually brought back the horror
I got
genre.
one.
'cause
You
it was-
can think that.
It was sucking pond water.
You can think that all you want.
I can name a few actually.
The
There's like 2 of them that I walked out in theaters. That
Fair
people
enough,
loved.
fair enough.
Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which is freaking terrible, but everybody loves that.
I was gonna say no. I think the first one people enjoyed. It's the second one that everybody. I don't think I've heard a single person say they like the
I
second
would
Rob
say
Zombie
the
one.
first one split right down the middle.
Yeah, because I know I remember.
I don't like it.
I remember
but
when I
know
first
enough
saw it. I
people who
enjoyed
do
it.
like it, but I also know enough people that don't like it. The second one's the one that I'm pretty sure no one
So
likes.
pick and choose first or second Rob Zombie's Halloween.
you bet. You bet.
Just to be fair, Halloween does not have a great track record at all for its movies, so there's that.
So Brennan.
Audition.
Okay.
A Japanese movie, Audition.
Okay.
And
A lot of big fans of that.
it's like I first heard that movie on Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments, and it was ranked at like number 12 or 11, and that's what made me want to see it. And I heard nothing but good things about it, and like it was about a year and a half, 2 years maximum after I saw that clip of it on the Bravo channel. Before I actually did get to see it, and I finally saw it. And in all honesty, other than the scene that they showed, nothing really had. Like I was just really bored by it. Like it's like with Zach with Scream, he was bored by Scream. I was bored by Audition, and it's other than the famous moments from it, I don't think there was a whole lot of story there.
Fair enough. I'm gonna be super basic about this, because it's fucking obvious, but I think it needs to be stated. Any of the Paranormal Activity after the first one are fucking terrible. And for some reason they're extremely successful and people flock to them.
I don't know if it's the fact that people liked them. It's just people are like, "What the fuck are they doing now?"
You know what though? But even then though, like
It's not. Yeah.
I don't know how many times you could pull that fucking trick. And the other thing is, all of the spin-offs of The Conjuring, they're all terrible.
Yeah.
The whether or not you want to be, Conjuring. I have not seen part 2. I've heard good things, but I've seen Conjuring 1. I enjoyed very much. I think
How have you not seen part 2 with how much you praise the first?
I
one?
just didn't have a chance. Same thing with Predator.
We're gonna change that.
Well, I'm sure. But that being said, though, I've seen The Nun. I've seen Annabelle. They're terrible.
Have you seen the prequel sequel to the Annabelle?
No, I have not.
Have you seen the sequel to the prequel of the sequel?
That hurts my head.
That's apparently what it is.
I have not
That is
cared
bad,
for for either one of those, but apparently there's incredibly popular because they're incredibly successful. So
I still need to watch all the Annabelle
you know,
movies.
the funny thing about this is that I've heard people say they're bad, but they're my friend group. My friend group is all cinephiles. So, but apparently though, I look at the box office receipts and they're extremely successful. So I can only
I mean, bad people go watch bad movies all the time.
But to that degree of success, though, is truly
saying.
truly mind blowing.
Look at what the hell was that movie? The fucking Wish movie.
Wish Upon.
Yeah, that movie was in my theater for way longer than it
I
should
watched it
have
on
been.
Amazon Prime. Little girl's dad is a dumpster diver in the movie.
Sweet.
That's the thing that happened.
Yeah, everybody walked out of that movie. Nobody liked it. They still went to see it because it was a horror movie in theaters that they could all watch.
From the director of Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
And that's everything you need to know.
And then
He's a really good DP, though. Not a good director.
I was gonna say, just because
really
you're a
good
good
DP.
DP doesn't mean you're a good director.
This is true.
True.
And the last one I'll add to that because I already brought it up today, but I think it's important because it's part of part of this topic is You're Next. And You're Next is incredibly popular with a lot of people, and I do not see what people are seeing it. I just don't.
It's funny because I remember seeing so much advertisement for that movie, then as soon as it released, dead.
Yeah, but again, even with people, it being dead, it gets brought up in top 10 lists all the time. The people bring it up in their favorite horror movies all the time, and I go, I don't know what the fuck.
Director that's doing the new King Kong versus Godzilla.
Interesting.
I've seen a lot of his other work,
I am
and
not familiar.
It sounds like he has a 50-50 track
he's
record. So
an interesting director to say the least. He did Netflix's Death Note, which I did not hate that. I hated the last 20 minutes of it. I thought, well, actually, I wouldn't say I hated it. I just thought the whole Ferris wheel thing was really dumb. And I felt like they were trying to wrap up the whole story because of it rather than let it. I think they should have tried to make it a franchise
show?
and let it build.
I think they should have made it a show.
Yeah, probably.
Live action show would have been
Miniseries,
miniseries. Yeah,
Like-
just a few episodes. That's fine too.
6 to 10 episodes maximum.
Keep it short and
depending
simple.
on what storylines you want to do.
It's a long story that you can't just cram into that. And then also, here's the thing: the characters were also the only good character I liked in that movie was the investigator and Willem Dafoe.
Yeah,
I hated the kid who played.
Yeah.
Did they even call him Light in the movie? I can't remember.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I knew the movie was gonna be terrible the moment he saw the Shinigami and screamed like a little girl. It was like, ah! It's like, and this is where we're going.
There are things I like about the movie. I don't think does it do the anime justice? No. I will agree with that. It does not do the anime justice. But are there still good things in the movie? I would say yes. I think there are a lot of positive aspects. Maybe not a lot, but there are positive aspects about the movie that I feel a lot of people just completely ignore. And I put that, like, if I had to rate it 1 to 10, I'd give the movie like a 5, maybe 5.5, 6 on a good day. Like, it's right in the middle for me. But I just feel that there are positive aspects that people just flat out ignore. And I'll agree there are negative things that should be talked about, but let's talk about the positive things as well, is all I'm saying.
He also did the remake of the Blair Witch Project.
This sequel.
Or
I was about to say that. He did the new Blair Witch. There are aliens and time travel in it.
Shaky Cam 9000. Which I
The
can't wait to
first 10
see.
minutes was the worst shaky cam I'd ever seen. I can't say I was bored by this one.
I can't wait to watch this movie.
Say what you will about the marketing for the first one. The movie itself is boring, and I did not like it. So, okay, you can add that to my list along with Audition. But, yeah, Audition just hurt more because I was looking forward to that one more.
Shout
But
to
yeah,
Brian.
his Blair Witch is not a good movie, but I was not bored by it. I will say that much. But then he also did another movie called The Guest, which I really liked.
I heard wonderful things about that movie.
I really like it. Excellent performance. Basically, it's the Terminator if the Terminator wasn't a time traveling robot, if it was an actual person. And it was, I really like it.
Nice. I heard great things about that. I wanted to see it. I'll have to catch it and everything else. So that I guess that definitely concludes my question of the podcast.
All right, so that's Mark's question of the podcast. We were going to talk about the production of Living Nightmares episode 3, but because of everything we needed to catch up on, because this was our first actual episode in a really long time that wasn't an interview, or our last one that we did was our anniversary special
months.
done at a convention.
Oh, wow.
2 months. More than that.
3 months.
More than that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
so it's good to be back to
Great to be
regular
back.
format. I think we liked catching up with each other a little too much. But yes, we're going to record another episode in the very near future covering production of Living Nightmares episode 3. So keep an eye out for that. And then our next episode after that. We've actually got a few more guests lined up already.
Absolutely.
So those are coming soon. So yes, our next episode will either be another interview or will be an actual legitimate back to format
Podcast.
podcast
Good old-fashioned.
without all the catch up that we needed to do this time.
Fair enough.
All right.
So, real quick, as per tradition, David, final thoughts?
Don't final thoughts.
Cool. Zach, final thoughts? Squirrel. I figured. Brandon,
It's good to be back.
it is great to be back. I thought our camera went off for a second. It is great to be back. Please like, share, and subscribe. And tell all of your aunts, brothers, sisters, uncles, best friends, and neighbors all about our awesome channel. You can find us on
Midwest Horror Network,
everywhere, pretty much.
Facebook, Instagram.
And on YouTube, of course, where you can find all these lovely podcasts. Thank you so much, as always, and we'll see you soon. Bye.